Chapter 876. In the blue sky, white clouds floated in the sky. It was a beautiful sight. There was even a row of wild geese flying in the sky. The grassland and the sky were separated into two halves by them. The scenery was so beautiful that it made people feel relaxed and happy. There was a tall mountain in the grassland. It was also known as the largest mountain in the grassland. It pierced through the clouds. It was majestic and awe-inspiring. This was the sacred mountain of the barbarian tribe. There was a temple in the mountain. Every 1st and 15th day of the year, believers would go there to pray for blessings. They hoped that their families would be safe, that their children would be born, or that the heavens would bestow them a good match on this day. A group of people came down from the sacred mountain. They were mainly young men and women. The men were tall and handsome, and the women were tall and beautiful. Each of them was riding a powerful mount. Their shocking aura made the surrounding civilians hide far away. They couldn't help but whisper to each other. Where did this group come from? It wasn't until the general of the mountain appeared and knelt in front of the beautiful woman in the lead. He called her princess, and only then did they realize that these people might be from the royal family. The sacred mountain of the barbarian tribe is rumored to be connected to the heavens. Seeing it today, it is indeed extraordinary. A young man riding on a flaming tiger looked up at the sacred mountain and said softly. This young man wasn't very handsome. He had a broad face, and there was a look of disdain between his eyebrows. It was as if he didn't put the tallest mountain in his eyes. The flaming tiger he was riding on had an even more extraordinary origin. It was an ancient demonic beast. The word king in between its eyebrows was like a flickering flame. It looked very majestic. It was emitting an extremely dense evil aura. If anyone got close to it, they would be burned to ashes by the true fire it released. The young woman on his right, who was called Princess, was Huang Fu Mingyu. She was taller and more outstanding than before. She was wearing a gorgeous dress, which made her innate noble aura even more vivid. She was riding on a demonic horse that looked like it was made of gold. It also had a pair of wings that were several feet long. It was the demonic horse with an extremely noble bloodline, the Flying Moon Horse. There were very few flying moon horses, and it was extremely difficult to find them. This was also a demonic horse mount that Huang Fu Mingyu had obtained by chance. On the left of the young man was an even stronger man. He carried a huge sword on his back, as if he was one with the sword. He was constantly emitting an endless sword aura. He didn't have a mount, but no one dared to deny that he had amazing endurance. Even if he didn't need a mount, he could still travel all over the world. Of course, its origin. Otherwise, the sacred elders wouldn't have been unable to uncover its secret. What's the point of thinking about that? Just take the heavenly staircase and bring the sacred guardian demons away. They have already enjoyed the treatment of the sacred mountain. After returning to the transcendence, their strength will definitely increase by leaps and bounds. They will be the future sacred guardian demons of our sacred fire sect. The young man with the huge sword on his back said faintly. Then he added, before they become the sacred guardian demons, they can be my mounts. How wonderful! Junior brother, you're a wonderful person. It's their honor to be your mount. The young man riding the flaming tiger replied with a smile. Then, the group began to climb the mountain. They were all very powerful. None of them were ordinary people. However, they also climbed the mountain on foot. Along the way, they looked at the scenery on their left and right. From time to time, they would point and talk. They looked like tourists. Not long after they walked, 3 figures appeared. They were Barbarian Elephant, Barbarian Tiger, and Barbarian Bull in human form. When the 3 demonic beasts saw them, their faces revealed an unnatural expression. They then bowed to the young man in the lead. Greetings, Saint. Then, they greeted the young man with the huge sword on his back. Greetings, young master. Saint and young master. These were 2 very different titles. However, they were both respectful. It seems that you all still remember where you came from. Not bad, not bad. The saint praised. They have been blessed by the gods since they were young to stay in the divine mountain for 1,000 years. If they don't even remember where they came from, then they should just bang their heads against the wall and die here. The young man with the huge sword on his back said. Then, he looked at Barbarian Elephant and said, "You'll be my mount from now on." Then, a young woman behind him stood out. She pointed at Barbarian Tiger and said coldly, "You're mine." Another young man pointed at Barbarian Bull and said, "This bull demonic beast belongs to me." The young woman looked ordinary. She carried a long spear on her back. She was very imposing. She had a kind of spirit that other women did not have. Women usually chose swords as their main weapon. Very few would choose spears. Spears were the dominators of weapons. This seemingly ordinary young woman had the heart of a dominator. The other young man looked feminine. His long and narrow eyes were like that of a snake. No matter who looked at him, they would feel as if they had been bitten by a snake. There were 2 short pitchforks on his waist. They were rare short weapons. The 3 sky demons did not obediently agree. Barbarian Bull took the lead and said, "According to the agreement, you all have to defeat us. Only then will we become your mount." "That's right. But are you sure you're not looking for trouble?" The young man with the huge sword laughed. "We'll see if we're going to suffer or not," Barbarian Bull said ruthlessly. Although they already knew their fate, when it really came, they were still unwilling to become other people's mount. Moreover, these people in front of them did not even look like they were fully grown. How could they willingly submit to them? Very interesting. Then let's fight. The feminine young man stared at Barbarian Bull and said, "No rush. It won't be too late to fight when we reach the heavenly stairway." The saint laughed. Then, he continued to lead the way up the divine mountain. The others did not disobey him. They followed him up the mountain. The 3 sky demons led the way. This was the territory of the barbarian tribe. It was also the territory of the sacred flame sect in the mortal world. The barbarians here were just inferior people who had lost their bloodline power. The true barbarian tribe had supreme status in the sacred flame sect. The saint was the sacred flame sect's Saint Infun. He was a monster. At a young age, he had already entered the heavenly fish realm. Moreover, he had reached the peak of the heavenly fish realm. He was the #1 person in the younger generation of the sacred flame sect. The young man with the huge sword on his back was a disciple of the barbarian tribe's Tuoba clan. His name was Tuoba Taishan. He was a prodigy who had awakened the 4th bloodline talent. He was regarded as the successor of the new generation's guardian. The guardian's status in the sacred flame sect was extraordinary. It meant that they would be nurtured by the sacred flame sect and become the pillars of the sacred flame sect. The ordinary-looking young woman was Tuoba Zhongying. She was also a prodigy of the Tuoba clan. Although she was not tall, her brute force was unusually strong. This was also the reason why she had chosen a long spear as her weapon. The feminine-looking young man was not a pure barbarian. He was a mixed blood. His name was Gao Peng. He was designated as the successor of the guardian. This showed how talented he was. Huangfu Mingyu was the barbarian tribe's princess. After joining the sacred flame sect, she had shown extraordinary potential. However, she was not qualified to become a guardian. She was also not qualified to become the sect's saintess. This was because she had started too late. Unless she caught up in the next 10 years, she would not be recognized. Now, Huangfu Mingyu had reached the peak of the Earth-Sea realm. She was only 1 step away from the heavenly fish realm. In fact, it was not difficult for her to break through. However, the elders in her tribe told her not to rush to break through before awakening the 5th bloodline talent. Once she awakened the 5th bloodline and broke through, she would definitely become someone second only to the saintess. She could become the successor of the guardian. Huangfu Mingyu also had an obsession. She wanted to enter the heavenly fish realm after awakening the fifth bloodline. She wanted to find that heartless man and teach him a good lesson. When I step onto the heavenly ladder, I will definitely be able to awaken the fifth bloodline power smoothly, Huang Fu Mingyu said confidently. They walked halfway up the mountain. First, they went to the god's nunnery to pay their respects to the barbarian god. It was said that the god was an invincible existence above the heavenly master realm. Even the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect had to look up to him. He was the ancestor of the ancient barbarians, Chiyu. After they had followed the rules, they walked to the heavenly ladder. The heavenly ladder, one step to the heavens. Some people said that it was the heavenly ladder to the transcendental realm. Some said that it was the gate to the immortal realm. Some even said that it was the place to the barbarian ancestor. In short, there were all kinds of legends. Since ancient times, there were not many who could truly complete the heavenly ladder. Those who had completed the heavenly ladder had never appeared in this world again. The Sacred Flame sect had always been very excited about the heavenly ladder. To them, it was the barbarian tribe's sacred cultivation ladder. As long as one had the barbarian bloodline power, they would be able to gain a lot by walking on the heavenly ladder. This group was not in a hurry to climb the heavenly ladder. Instead, Tuoba Taishan, Tuoba Zhongying, and Gao Peng fought against Barbarian Elephant, Barbarian Tiger, and Barbarian Bull. Barbarian Bull, come here. I will make you kneel in 3 moves, Gao Peng said as he hooked his finger at Barbarian Bull. As far as he was concerned, this bull wasn't his ideal mount. The rock by his side was his true mount. However, as the successor of a Tao protector, he had to choose a savage beast to nurture as his mount. Thus, he reluctantly chose the bull. Moo. Barbarian Bull didn't say anything. He let out a roar and rushed towards Gao Peng. His Barbarian Bull fist blasted towards Gao Peng. Barbarian Bull's strength had increased a lot. With the shackles of fate broken, his strength had soared to the high-level heavenly demon realm. As long as he left this world, he would become even more powerful. The more this was so, the more he was unwilling to become someone else's mount. As long as he defeated the young man in front of him, he would be able to obtain his freedom. He would no longer need to be suppressed by fate. Moreover, if he became someone else's mount, would he still have the face to drink with his sworn brother in the future? I will definitely break fate. Barbarian Bull roared in his heart. Barbarian Bull fist, one punch could shake heaven and earth. Chapter 877. The true meaning of the Barbarian fist was that one punch could break the sky. Barbarian Bull had already grasped this true meaning and used the Barbarian Dharma idol. Even a top-notch heaven realm cultivator would not be able to withstand his punch. Gao Peng did not want to meet Barbarian Bull head-on. His body seemed to have stirred up a gust of wind as he dodged Barbarian Bull's attack. A palm print quietly appeared on Barbarian Bull's back. He shouted, "Get down! Rock spreading wings palm." The power of this palm was not inferior to the Barbarian Bull fist. It was even more cunning and impossible to guard against. Bang! Barbarian Bull could not react in time. His back was fiercely hit by the palm, and his body directly crashed into the mountain wall. Barbarian Bull did not only have brute force. Just as he was about to crash into the mountain wall, he lifted his foot and stepped on the mountain wall. His body was like an upside-down golden hook as he returned to Gao Peng's side. The powerful Barbarian Bull battle aura crushed down. Barbarian Bull's fist energy was like a mountain as he continuously attacked. He wanted to defeat Gao Peng in one go. This time, Gao Peng did not dodge. He looked up and said, "If you don't transform into your true form, this little bit of power is not enough." The palm imprints continued to bombard upwards, completely blocking the Barbarian Bull fist. Not a single fist could land on his body. Moreover, there were palm imprints that passed through the fist power and smashed onto Barbarian Bull's chest, causing him to once again fly backwards. Gao Ping did not plan to give Barbarian Bull a chance to counterattack. His body flew like a rock and caught up to Barbarian Bull. Another wave of palm prints blasted out. The palm prints were like a rock spreading its wings, sweeping across 3,000 miles. Every palm print was enough to destroy a mountain. If this was not a divine mountain, the mountain would not be able to withstand the torment of this power. Barbarian Bull was beaten into his true form by Gao Ping. A Barbarian Bull appeared, and his combat power soared again. He continuously roared, and his horns were like the most powerful weapon, piercing towards Gao Ping's vital points. His bull body had not arrived, but his bull strength had already exploded, displaying the shocking brute force of a barbarian bull. Even a peak heaven realm cultivator could not compare. This was the potential to become the sacred guardian demon of the Sacred Flame sect. He was born with an extraordinary bloodline. Gao Ping looked excited. He licked his lips and said, "Now that's interesting." Instead, his clothes were torn apart by the barbarian bull's horns, which almost cut open a bloody wound on his abdomen. He repeatedly used ingenious footwork to dodge, and took out the twin pitchforks from his waist. He jumped onto the back of the barbarian bull, and the twin pitchforks ruthlessly pierced through the barbarian bull's defensive battle chi. Blood seeped out from between the tough skin of the barbarian bull. Moo! Barbarian Bull angrily roared. His brute force continued to erupt. Dust flew everywhere, old trees collapsed, and flowers and grass were pulverized. "If you don't submit, I'll slaughter you, you beast." Gao Ping revealed his vicious and merciless side. The twin tridents unceasingly opened up bloody holes on Barbarian Bull's body. No matter how much strength Barbarian Bull exerted, he was unable to break free from Gao Ping. Barbarian Bull used his killing move. Barbarian Bull flipped over. He carried Gao Ping and ferociously rammed himself against the mountain wall. Gao Ping's reaction was faster than most people. He jumped off the Barbarian Bull's back before it hit the mountain. With an unimaginable speed, he swept under the Barbarian Bull's abdomen and ruthlessly stabbed his twin pitchforks into the Barbarian Bull's abdomen. Barbarian Elephant and Barbarian Tiger saw that their brother was injured, and their faces were filled with anger. The three of them had protected the sacred mountain for thousands of years, and in the end they had fallen. It was really sad. "Whether you submit or not, you will be my mount from now on." Gao Ping did not kill the Barbarian Bull. He pulled out his twin pitchforks and ruthlessly kicked the Barbarian Bull. The heavily injured Barbarian Bull crashed into the mountain wall and was covered in blood. Third brother, Barbarian Elephant and Barbarian Tiger, called out together. They wanted to go and take care of the Barbarian Bull, but two people were one step ahead of them and blocked their path. "Big stupid elephant, obediently become my mount," Tuoba Taishan said with a playful smile. On the other side, Tuoba Chang and did not even bother to say anything. He directly pulled out his long spear and stabbed towards Barbarian Tiger with all his strength. Tuoba Chang and did not show any mercy when he attacked. Barbarian Tiger was filled with killing intent. He roared, and the tiger's roar condensed into killing intent that entered Tuoba Chang An's ears. Tuoba Chang An acted as if he didn't hear it. His long spear turned into a rainbow and swept towards Barbarian Tiger's body. Blood splashed out. The Barbarian Elephant at the side turned into its true form and stomped down with a huge elephant leg that contained the power of 10,000 cauldrons. It was enough to stomp a peak heaven realm expert. Even a small saint might not be able to block its power. He was the leader of the three barbarian beasts. However, Tuoba Taishan blocked the elephant leg with one hand, and the barbarian elephant's leg could no longer stomp down. No matter how much you struggle, it won't change the fact that your cultivation is slow in this barren land. Tuoba Taishan shouted and used his finger as a sword to pierce through the thick skin of the barbarian elephant's leg. The barbarian beast's cries resounded in the sacred mountain. The barbarian beasts below the sacred mountain all knelt on the ground and did not even dare to breathe loudly. They thought that the mountain protector had sent a decree. The 3 barbarian beasts had been completely defeated. The 3 youths had even made them bleed continuously. It was simply too cruel. Huangfu Mingyu opened her mouth and said, "Enough. What's the point of torturing them like this?" Huangfu Mingyu was not as strong as them, but she was once the princess here. She could not bear to see the 3 barbarian beasts being tortured like this. "Hey, I'll give junior sister some face and leave it at that for now." Tuoba Taishan smiled. If it wasn't for the fact that Huangfu Mingyu had a saint protector behind her, he would not have bothered with her. However, her talent and beauty were not bad, and it would be good if he could get close to her in the future. "All right, we can climb the heavenly staircase," Infan said. Following this, he took the lead and walked towards the heavenly staircase. Infan also had the barbarian race's bloodline, and it was an extremely orthodox bloodline. The most amazing thing was that he cultivated both earth and fire xianqi. Not only did it not affect his strength, it also greatly increased his battle strength. The heavenly staircase tested the barbarian's willpower and physique. If one's willpower was not strong enough, they would not be able to climb the stairs. If one's physique was not strong enough, it would be difficult for them to reach the top of the stairs. Infan climbed the stairs as light as a swallow. He quietly walked past 10 steps without feeling anything out of the ordinary. Behind him, the other youths continued to climb the heavenly staircase. Some of the non-barbarian youths also tried to walk up. In the end, a powerful force descended and instantly suppressed them into a pool of blood. This scared the non-barbarian youths so much that they did not dare to take a single step forward. The heavenly staircase only led to the barbarian race. At the foot of the divine mountain, another unfamiliar group arrived. This group didn't seem as imposing as the previous group. Judging from the outside, they seemed to be foreigners. They would have been driven away if it weren't for the high-grade barbarian token in the hands of the young man who was sitting cross-legged on a silver turtle. Wasn't this group Yang Wu's group? Yang Wu still wanted to climb the divine mountain, but he was told that the divine mountain was sealed and would not be open to the public for the next few days. Yang Wu felt quite regretful. He led the group to a quiet place nearby and opened the tent. He let them rest here for the time being. He was ready to walk around the divine mountain alone. Master, I also want to go to the divine mountain to take a look. Can I?" The dark-skinned youth asked nervously. As a barbarian, being able to climb the divine mountain and enter the divine nunnery was a kind of glory. The youth wanted to see it even in his dreams. Yang Wu hesitated for a moment and said, "Then let's go and take a look." Thereupon, he led Xue Xiaofan towards the divine mountain. He wanted to avoid the generals guarding the mountain and climb the mountain. This was a very easy task. The mountain path was steep and winding. It was difficult for ordinary people to climb it. Yang Wu led Xue Xiaofan and quickly rushed towards the mountainside. The reason why the divine mountain was called the divine mountain was because no one could reach the top. To reach the top, one had to go through the heavenly staircase. Climbing the heavenly staircase was as difficult as ascending the heavens. Yang Wu went to the barbarian elephant's cave. He wanted to greet the barbarian elephant first, otherwise it would seem too rash. Who knew that when he arrived at the barbarian elephant's cave, the barbarian elephant was not there. A small monster said that the barbarian elephant had gone out to welcome an important guest and had not returned yet. Yang Wu felt that the situation might have changed. He led Xue Xiaofan towards the heavenly stairway. His main goal was to return to the transcendent world. He wanted to see if the heavenly stairway was really connected to the heavens. When he arrived near the heavenly stairway, he immediately sensed movement in front of him. There were 3 heavily injured barbarian demons lying in a pool of blood. Their breath was extremely weak. Weren't they the 3 barbarian demons he was looking for? In front of the 3 barbarian demons, there were a few youngsters. They had their backs to the barbarian demons and were looking at the top of the heavenly stairway. Yang Wu didn't care about them and quickly rushed towards the 3 barbarian demons. Those youngsters didn't even notice his presence. He had already fed the 3 barbarian demons healing pills. Healing pills were effective on any living being. It was just that the effects varied. It's little brother Yang Wu. Why are you here? Barbarian Elephant couldn't help but exclaim. Little brother Yang Wu, you should leave quickly. It's dangerous here. Barbarian Tiger weakly reminded. Barbarian Bull couldn't even speak. When he saw Yang Wu appear, his bull eyes kept blinking. It was as if he was also reminding Yang Wu to leave. Don't speak. Heal your injuries first. Yang Wu said with heartache. These 3 barbarian demons weren't bad. When they saw him, they didn't shout for help. Instead, they asked him to leave first. This proved that they were loyal barbarian demons. The youngsters from the Sacred Flames sect who had their backs to the barbarian demons noticed the commotion. They turned around and saw 2 more youngsters in front of the 3 barbarian demons. Their faces revealed traces of anger. One of the youngsters scolded, "Where did this brat come from? How dare you touch my sect's sacred demon?" The others quickly surrounded Yang Wu. They were all on guard against this unknown youngster. To be able to appear without them noticing, this youngster wasn't simple. People from the Sacred Flame sect? Yang Wu muttered when he saw the insignia on the youngster's clothes. Yes, they are from the Sacred Flame sect. You should leave quickly. We will be fine. Barbarian Elephant urged Yang Wu. Go now. Listen to me. Barbarian Tiger begged. Barbarian Bull wanted to get up and chase Yang Wu away, but unfortunately, he was powerless. If you don't say your name, I'll cripple you. The youngster who spoke just now came in front of Yang Wu and pointed at Yang Wu's nose. Chapter 878. Yang Wu was already in a bad mood when he saw the 3 barbarian demons severely injured. Now, the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect dared to point at his nose and spit at him. They were simply courting death. After the other party finished speaking, Yang Wu slapped the other party's face, causing 2 of his front teeth to fall out. The other party screamed in pain. This was only a warrior at the pinnacle of the Earth-Sea realm. Yang Wu was already giving him face by not sending his head flying with a slap. The people of the Sacred Flame sect saw that this young man was so bold. He knew they were from the Sacred Flame sect, yet he still dared to attack them. He was really courting death. Kneel down. Another young man from the Sacred Flame sect rushed over and slapped Yang Wu's head furiously. The strength of the Heavenly Fish realm was unquestionable. No matter where Yang Wu came from, in their eyes, he was just a young man. What could he do? This young man was at the beginner level of the Heavenly Fish realm and was stronger than the one who was slapped. They were all geniuses in their 20s, but they were also divided into levels. Before the other party's attack landed, Yang Wu kicked. The young man at the beginner level of the Heavenly Fish realm crashed into the mountain wall like a kite with a broken string. Bang! There was a dull sound and blood spurted out. The young man's aura quickly withered. The other people from the Sacred Flame sect were surprised. They couldn't believe that there was a genius in the mortal world who could compare with them. One of them looked at Yang Wu and exclaimed, You are the first Heavenly King, Yang Wu? The first Heavenly King was a title that happened more than a year ago. It wasn't easy for people to still remember it. Yang Wu looked at that person. It was a young woman in her 20s who had reached the pinnacle of the Earth-Sea realm. He ignored her and asked indifferently, Why did you hurt my friends? These 3 barbarian demons are your friends? Are you also a barbarian? A middle-aged man walked out and asked in a deep voice. This middle-aged man had an extraordinary bearing, and there seemed to be a red flood dragon swaying behind him. This was a martial artist who had reached the dragon transformation realm. His name was Zhang Byron, and he was the protector of these young people. Yang Wu looked at Zhang Byron and replied, They are my friends. What does this have to do with whether I am a barbarian or not? It's not a small matter. They are the future guardian sacred demons of our sacred flame sect. How we teach them a lesson is our business. It's not up to a young man like you to interfere. You injured the disciples of our sect. No matter what the reason is, you have to give us an explanation, Zhang Byron said faintly. Yang Wu frowned slightly. He did not believe Zhang Byron's words. He turned around and asked the three demons, "Are you really related to the Sacred Flame sect? Little brother Yang Wu, please leave. Thank you for standing up for us. This is our fate," Barbarian Elephant said dejectedly. Yang Wu replied, "If they forced you, you don't have to be afraid. I will make them change their minds." Little brother Yang Wu, please don't. We are indeed the barbarian demons of the Sacred Flame sect. It's just that we have stayed in the sacred mountain for too long and don't want to go back, Barbarian Tiger said anxiously. He then urged, "If you treat us as friends, then quickly leave the mountain. Let's go." Barbarian Bull looked at Yang Wu and said with difficulty. Yang Wu realized that things were not as simple as he thought. Just as he was thinking of how to deal with this, Zhang Byron spoke again. "You want to leave after injuring people? Are you ignoring my words? What are you going to do about it?" Yang Wu asked. Zhang Byron did not respond to Yang Wu's words. He turned to a young woman and asked, "Jiang Li, what is his background?" Jiang Li was the young woman who recognized Yang Wu. She replied, "Elder, 2 years ago, in the fragmented space of the Xiangjiang realm, various sects were fighting for the title of Heavenly King. He is the final winner, Yang Wu. He might be from the Battle Clan realm's Yang family." After Yang Wu became the #1 Heavenly King, many people began to pay attention to his movements. After all, he was a youth who could suppress the geniuses of various factions. His potential was limitless. If they investigated him early, they would be able to guard against him. Yang Wu of the Yang family, right? He is just a descendant of a declining battle clan. Where did he get the guts to beat up our Sacred Flame sect's people? Zhang Byron said with disdain. The various major factions of the Transcendent Realm knew the Yang family's current situation. At this moment, a young man wearing fire-colored leather armor stood out from behind Zhang Byron and said, "Elder, leave him to me. He injured 2 of my junior brothers. This crime cannot be easily forgiven. Let me teach him how to behave. The title of #1 Heavenly King is just a joke." This young man looked to be in his early 20s, but he was actually in his 30s. He had reached the mid-level Heavenly Fish realm. His talent was definitely not ordinary. His name was Yen Machin. "Senior brother Yen, you must be careful. Even the young Hall King of the Eternal Life Hall suffered at his hands before." Jiang Li reminded him kindly. "That young Hall King of the Eternal Life Hall's #2 freak?" Yen Machin frowned. The young Hall King was not inferior to their sect's saint. He was even more outstanding than their sect's saint. He was a ruthless freak. "That's right." Jiang Li nodded. That was a year ago. Huge changes can happen at any time in a year. What kind of resources does the Yang family have to nurture him? Even if they do, I can still step on him, Yen Machin said confidently. Yang Wu did not care about the other party's provocation. He took out a few more healing heavenly medicines and gave them to the 3 barbarian demons. He also told Xue Xiaofan to stay by their side and not wander off. "You guys really don't want to go with me?" Yang Wu asked the 3 barbarian demons again. The 3 barbarian demons realized that Yang Wu was not the same as before, but they still shook their heads. They did not want to implicate Yang Wu, and once again advised him to leave quickly. "Alright, no matter what happened between you guys, today's matter ends here. If you want to get rid of them, I can help you at any time," Yang Wu said with incomparable certainty. "What big words. Do you really think you're an invincible expert? Kneel down and apologize to my 2 junior brothers, then slap your own face 100 times. Maybe we'll let you live." Yen Machin stepped forward and locked onto Yang Wu as he shouted, "You don't have the right." Yang Wu looked back at Yen Machin and replied indifferently, Very well, then let me see how powerful you, the so-called number 1 Heavenly King, is. Yen Machin laughed sinisterly. He stretched out a palm and slapped Yang Wu's face. He wanted to humiliate Yang Wu on the spot and let this arrogant young man understand what a true expert was. However, before the power of his palm landed on Yang Wu's face, Yang Wu casually swung his hand and sent him rolling away. The crisp sound of the slap rang in the ears of the Sacred Flame sect people. It was as if they were slapped in the face. It was really painful. Yen Machin was dumbfounded. He was a genius of the Sacred Flame sect. Even if he was only in the intermediate Heavenly Fish realm, he was not afraid of those in the advanced Heavenly Fish realm. He might even be able to kill those in the top Heavenly Fish realm. However, he was sent flying by Yang Wu's slap. More importantly, he could not catch Yang Wu's attack, which was a little scary. The people of the Sacred Flame sect did not know whether to make a move or not. Yen Machin was a master with strong self-esteem. He never allowed others to interfere in his battles. This was also the reason why they were in a dilemma. Yen Machin bounced up from the ground and covered his face. He glared at Yang Wu and shouted, "You deserve to die." Slap. As soon as he finished speaking, the other side of his face was slapped hard and his body was sent flying again. This time, Zhang Byron could not bear it. He took a step forward and pressed down his palm toward Yang Wu. Yang Wu calmly raised his palm and blocked Zhang Byron's attack. "Don't force me," Yang Wu replied calmly. Zhang Byron's eyes twitched. He really could not understand why this young man was so strong. The number 1 Heavenly King was just a ranking for geniuses in the Earth-Sea realm and those who had just entered the Heavenly Fish realm. Even if he was good, he could only fight against warriors in the Heavenly Fish realm. He was in the Dragon Transformation realm, but his opponent dealt with him so easily. This was a little troublesome. This was a matter of great importance to the sect. Zhang Byron could not just let it go. He did not talk nonsense and continuously slapped at Yang Wu. Each palm that covered the sky could kill any warrior at the peak of the Heavenly Fish realm. Yang Wu looked up and saw all these attacks. He felt that they were as slow as snails. He raised his fist and punched Zhang Byron directly. The fist force was like a dragon. Zhang Byron was sent flying with one punch. Puff! Even a warrior in the Dragon Transformation realm could not withstand the power of one punch. He spat out blood. The difference between the two was not ordinary. The people of the Sacred Flame sect realized that they had kicked a steel plate this time. Jiang Li looked at the awe-inspiring Yang Wu. Not only did she not have any hatred, but she also showed a look of infatuation. She muttered, "So handsome." After the 3 barbarian demons saw Yang Wu's strength, it was an eye-opener. The current Yang Wu was absolutely different from 3 years ago. Xue Xiaofan was shocked. He knew that Yang Wu was strong and was a legendary king. Only now did he realize that he was too naive. His master was definitely an invincible existence in this world. At this moment, there was a strange light floating on the heavenly ladder. A tall and straight silhouette ascended to the 41st step. His barbaric bull Battle-Chi was floating around him as he valiantly collided with the silhouette. The heavenly ladder was very mysterious. The stronger the climber, the stronger the test on the ladder. The barbarian bull Battle-Chi was not inferior to the climber's strength. The two sides engaged in an extremely intense battle. The climber was Yin Fun from the Sacred Flame sect. Yin Fun carried the power of 10,000 cauldrons and his combat strength was greatly affected. However, he still displayed extremely strong combat strength. With his own methods, he quickly defeated the barbarian bull and obtained the barbarian bull insight. "Is this the secret to climbing the heavenly ladder?" Yin Fun said with a confident smile, and continued to climb up the 42nd step. "Xiao Fan, you should also try climbing the heavenly ladder." Chapter 879. Xue Xiaofan, a young man of mixed blood. He had been blacksmithing with Xue Gui since he was very young, so he was quite strong. However, He did not have any brute strength at all. He did not feel that he had inherited the power of the barbarian bloodline. Xue Xiaofan looked at Yang Wu timidly and asked, Can I go? Who would not want to climb the heavenly stairway? He wanted to as well, but he was too embarrassed to do so. His strength was too weak. Go, I'm here. Yang Wu patted Xue Xiaofan's shoulder and encouraged him. He did not expect Xue Xiaofan to climb a few steps. He just wanted to see if he could use the power of the heavenly stairway to awaken his bloodline power. Even without the heavenly stairway, with his identity as a saint pharmacist, he could help Xue Xiaofan refine a body of steel. The identity of a saint pharmacist was enough to be on par with any saint. The people of the Sacred Flame sect did not dare to speak. Their saint was on the heavenly stairway, and Zhang Byron had been sent flying by Yang Wu. None of them were a match for Yang Wu, so they did not dare to provoke him. Jiang Li gathered her courage and walked in front of Yang Wu. She said gently, Yang Wu, you should leave first. The saint is climbing the heavenly stairway. When he comes down, I'm afraid it will cause unnecessary misunderstandings. Jiang Li was quite beautiful and talented. She had many followers in the Sacred Flame sect, and had hopes of breaking through to the heavenly fish realm within a year. Yang Wu felt Jiang Li's kindness and replied, Thank you for the reminder. I am a reasonable person. On the contrary, if others did not reason with him, he would not reason with them either. Yang Wu led Xue Xiaofan towards the heavenly stairway. Yang Wu had once climbed the 49th step of the heavenly stairway to meet Qiyu. Unfortunately, he was unwilling to accept his inheritance and only received the complete true explanation of Barbaric Fist. Let's go, Yang Wu urged Xue Xiaofan again. Xue Xiaofan no longer hesitated and stepped onto the heavenly ladder. The people from the Sacred Flame sect were watching a good show. The heavenly ladder only recognized people from the barbarian tribe. Those who were not from the barbarian tribe would be torn to pieces. When Xue Xiaofan stepped on the heavenly ladder, there was no grand force that came to kill him. There was only an invisible force that pressed down on his body as if a boulder was pressing down on his shoulders, causing him to feel extremely uncomfortable. The heavenly ladder tests brute force. If you have enough brute force, you can walk all the way up. If you don't want to embarrass your adoptive father, then walk up properly. Walk with all your might until you can't take it anymore, Yang Wu said to Xue Xiaofan. Xue Xiaofan had a stubborn personality. The person he admired and respected the most in his life was his adoptive father, Yang Wu. Even though he and Ai Sha had become Yang Wu's disciples, they still did not have much affection for each other. When he heard Yang Wu mention his adoptive father, his temper flared up. He thought to himself, Adoptive father, Yang Wu will definitely have a bright future. The dark-skinned youth's eyes revealed an incomparably determined look. A blacksmithing aura floated around his body. Bit by bit, he squeezed out some strength from his body and straightened his body to step onto the second step. He seemed to see his adoptive father waiting for him at the end of the heavenly ladder. The pressure on his body on the second step was even greater, but he still walked with his head held high. In his heart, he silently used the blacksmithing technique that his adoptive father had taught him. There was a hammer in his heart that could break anything. The dark-skinned youth walked up step by step. In his muscles, bones, and blood, traces of hidden brute force seeped out. It was as if his body contained a huge brute demon with endless strength that could break through all pressure. As the dark-skinned youth was climbing the ladder, the Sacred Flame sect's holy son reached the 43rd step. Tuoba Taishan reached the 40th step and headed towards the 41st step. Tuoba Chang'an followed closely behind and reached the 38th step. After Gao Peng reached the 36th step, he sat down cross-legged and stopped moving forward. His physical strength had reached its limit. The other youths with the brute tribe bloodline were between the 20th and 30th step. Only Huangfu Mingyu could still reach the 30th step. After Huangfu Mingyu reached the 30th step, she began to sweat. Her clothes were soaked, and her exquisite figure was faintly discernible. It was very tempting. This is not my limit. This is just the beginning. Huang Fu Mingyu murmured. The bloodline power in her body surged, and a Dharma idol appeared behind her. It was the shadow of an ancestor of the barbarian tribe. The meridians on the stairs trembled as if they were resonating with the Dharma idol. The fifth bloodline power was the barbarian god Dharma idol. Huang Fu Mingyu broke through the first bloodline power. The brute force in her body multiplied crazily, and the power in her dantian also surged. When she reached the next step, she reached the heavenly fish realm. The barbarian god Dharma form behind her looked even more mighty and domineering. In a few blinks of an eye, Huang Fu Mingyu reached the 36th step. Gao Ping, who was sitting there cross-legged, looked a little jealous. This inferior clansman from the mortal world had actually caught up to him. This was something he found hard to accept. Although Huang Fu Mingyu's bloodline power was higher than his realm was much higher than Huang Fu Mingyu's. Huang Fu Mingyu didn't look at Gao Ping and stepped onto the 37th step. The brute force on her body was getting stronger and stronger, but she didn't find it too difficult. In front of the Dharma form, this brute force was nothing. Now, she was confident that she could kill any opponent in the heavenly fish realm with one punch. This confidence came from her bloodline. There was another benefit of the bloodline awakening, which was the inheritance of the brute tribe's memories. It was destined that she would be able to quickly improve her combat power in the future. Whether in the Sacred Flame sect or in the Transcendent Realm, there were very few people who had awakened the fifth bloodline power. Her status was destined to rise. Huang Fu Mingyu surpassed Tuoba Chang'an and caught up with Tuoba Taishan. She stepped onto the 41st step and faced the brute bull fighting Qi. Within a year, 3 people had reached the 40th step at the same time. This was a once-in-a-century golden age. At the bottom, the dark-skinned teenager continued to climb the steps with difficulty. His body was bent like a shrimp, but he was still unyielding. His goal was to reach the top. When the dark-skinned young man stepped onto the 3rd step, he had awakened his first bloodline, brute force surge. His muscles started to swell, and he seemed to have grown a bit taller. He felt like he could easily lift up 100 stones of strength. When he stepped onto the 7th step, he had awakened his second bloodline, brute force supreme force. Strands of brute force wrapped around his body and blocked the brute force that was suppressing him. When he climbed onto the 15th step, he felt like his body was about to be crushed, and the supreme force in his body was completely wiped out. He felt like he would rather die than live. However, he still didn't give up. The shadow at the top supported him as he continued to climb. When he reached the 16th step, his bones were crushed, and blood was flowing out of his orifices. It was a horrible sight to behold. At this moment, he had awakened his 3rd bloodline, brute force Eugene. With the 3rd bloodline awakening, the heavenly ladder once again produced a strange phenomenon. Wisps of power poured into the dark-skinned teenager. The injuries on his body quickly healed, and the toughness of his muscles, bones, and organs rapidly increased. Seeing this, the 3 barbarian beasts could not help but cry out, "Ancestral bloodline." Any ancient race would have an advantageous bloodline. The barbarian race used to be one of the war races that was on par with the Xianyuan race. However, after the barbarian race was defeated by the Xianyuan race, they were given the title of barbarian evil, and were expelled from the war race world. Otherwise, the barbarian race would still exist in the war race world. The barbarian race's bloodline was incomparably powerful. Even if they had lost their ancestral bloodline, there were still enough barbarian race members in the transcendent world to rule over their own world. Xue Xiaofan had awakened 3 bloodlines in one day. It was not any less than Huang Fu Mingyu's 5th bloodline awakening. Where did this child come from? He only just started to awaken his bloodline after growing up. It is our fault. Barbarian Elephant blamed himself. We are only protectors of the sacred mountain. "We are not looking for a bloodline inheritor," Barbarian Tiger said. He paused for a bit before continuing, "If possible, I want to be a protector for this child." "I also think so," Barbarian Bull agreed. Their injuries had taken a turn for the better, and the wounds on their bodies were already healing. After 10 days or half a month, they would be as good as new. Yang Wu was watching from below. He could not help but say in astonishment, "It seems like this child is very lucky." He accepted Xue Xiaofan as a disciple because he wanted to help Xue Gui take care of this youth. Now that this youth had shown an extraordinary side, he felt that he could properly nurture him. Xue Xiaofan had not even reached the human general realm, but he was still able to climb up using his awakened bloodline. This was an inconceivable matter. In the past, those who had not reached the Earth-Sea realm could not climb the stairway to heaven. The stairway to heaven's power was too strong. Those who were below the Earth-Sea realm would be ground into a puddle of blood. Xue Xiaofan was an exception in 1,000 years. He walked all the way to the 30th step. His bloodline power did not increase, and the brute force did not increase either. It seemed like this was the end of the test. He was at a loss as he walked up the 36th step with ease. Gao Ping, who was beside him, had an urge to kill. When he reached the 39th step, Tuoba Zhongying wanted to stab him with her spear. Unfortunately, she did not even have the strength to lift it. Just as Xue Xiaofan reached the 40th step, strands of powerful brute force surged in from all directions. He was suppressed at this step, unable to continue climbing. Even if he used up all of his willpower and strength, it was to no avail. Apart from this, his bloodline power did not increase in the slightest. But at this moment, his realm was rapidly increasing. He stepped into the warrior realm and reached the human general realm. He looked at the top and muttered, "There will be a day when I will reach the top with the divine weapon that I personally forged." In the next moment, he turned around and quickly walked down the stairway. His body quietly had a different aura. The stairway to heaven began to surge. Chapter 880. The heavenly stairway was a divine stairway that led straight to the clouds. Many people wanted to walk up step by step to see the scenery at the top of the stairway. Unfortunately, for countless years, no one had ever reached the top of the stairway. Even the sages who came down in secret had secretly walked up the heavenly stairway but returned empty-handed in the end. They concluded that it was a gate to another world. Perhaps it was the gate to the immortal world that they were desperately searching for. On the heavenly stairway, after Xue Xiaofan retreated, some of the people from the Sacred Flame sect also retreated. They really couldn't go any further. Staying there would only be a waste of time. Only a limited number of people remained. Yin Fun, Huangfu Mingyu, Tuoba Taishan, and Tuoba Chang'an. Yin Fun had already reached the 44th step. After reaching this step, he was clearly struggling. Whether he could make it was indeed a problem. After all, he would be injured every time he passed a step. Even if he had healing pills to recover, he could forget about fighting the next battle in his best condition. Huangfu Mingyu had already reached the 43rd step. Her condition was clearly better than Yin Fun's. She was breaking through the brute demon battle chi in one go and charging towards the 44th step. After Tuoba Taishan reached the 42nd step, he was sent flying. He couldn't continue going up. Tuoba Chang'an couldn't make it past the 40th step. Even if her willpower was extremely strong and she unleashed her strongest power, she was still suppressed there. In the end, she had no choice but to give up. Xue Xiaofan had already come down. Yang Wu didn't leave with him immediately. Instead, he continued to guard the 3 brute demons in front of them. He wanted them to recover as soon as possible. He was waiting for the Sacred Flame sect to have a good talk with someone who could really speak. Zhang Byron wasn't killed by Yang Wu, but he was seriously injured. He didn't dare to provoke Yang Wu anymore. He felt that Yang Wu's strength might have reached the advanced dragon transformation realm. Otherwise, how could he send him flying with one punch? Zhang Byron still had a backup plan, but he didn't want to risk his life. The other party didn't kill them all, so there was room for negotiation. He would leave this matter to the saint. He wasn't the only protector by the Holy Sun's side. The person in the dark hadn't made a move yet. Yin Fun was unable to cross the 44th step. He was heavily injured by the barbarian eagle on this step and was forced back to the 43rd step. From then on, he lost the chance to advance to a higher step. Yin Fun didn't look disappointed in the slightest. He calmly sat down cross-legged to heal himself. At this moment, Huang Fu Mingyu stepped onto the 44th step and replaced Yin Fun. Everyone had a whole new level of respect for Huang Fu Mingyu. Even though the Stairway to Heaven test did not have any authority in the Transcendence, it had an extraordinary meaning in the barbarian race. Huang Fu Mingyu might really be able to go very far in the future. Yang Wu had already seen Huang Fu Mingyu. This woman was indeed very good. He could not help but think of the little man. He did not know how she was doing. The little man and Huang Fu Mingyu might be twin sisters. He did not know when they would be fated to meet again. Huang Fu Mingyu climbed all the way until she reached the 48th step. She couldn't hold on any longer and was trampled by the elephant's leg. Her entire body was covered in blood, and even her barbarian god Dharma idol was completely shattered. Huang Fu Mingyu could not hold on any longer. She chose to admit defeat and retreated to the 47th step to heal herself. At this moment, Yin Fun's injuries had mostly healed. He looked at Huang Fu Mingyu and thought to himself, maybe it's not bad to let her become my woman. Then, he quickly retreated down the stairway to heaven. It was time to settle some small problems. Other than Huang Fu Mingyu, everyone from the Sacred Flame sect returned to the bottom of the stairway to heaven and faced off against Yang Wu. Yang Wu had been sitting calmly beside a rock, guarding the 3 barbarian demons and Xue Xiaofan. He did not care about those who had locked onto him. Yin Fun walked over and said with a faint smile, "It's a small world. To be able to meet the number 1 heavenly king in the mortal world, it seems like I'm quite lucky." Yang Wu looked up at Yin Fun and said, "Who are you?" Yin Fun's smile instantly froze. Who was he? He was the Sacred Flame sect's holy son, famous among the younger generation of the transcendent world. Yang Wu dared to pretend not to know him? "This is a little too much," Gao Ping said coldly with narrowed eyes. He had a belly full of anger and was worried about where to vent it. This young man in front of him might be the best vent. However, he did not act rashly. Even Zhang Byron was no match for him. If he really wanted to attack, he would definitely use his ultimate move and severely injure him. Yang Wu did not answer Gao Ping. He could feel the other party's undisguised killing intent. "I've seen Brother Yang Wu kill everyone in the broken space. To be honest, I'm a little surprised that you're still alive. The people from the Purple Firmament Palace did not chase after you. Perhaps they don't know that you're hiding in the mortal world," Yin Fun said with a smile that hid a knife. To be able to become a holy son, not only was he strong, but he also had to have good temperament. One had to know that impulsiveness was the devil. How could someone who acted impulsively achieve great things? "I don't want to talk nonsense with you. I want to take them away. What are your conditions?" Yang Wu cut to the chase. Do you know their identities?" Yin Fun was stunned. Yang Wu said, "I don't care who they are. They are my friends. I don't want others to mistreat my friends. It's that simple." "Hee, what an idiot." Gao Ping sneered again. Yang Wu still did not take Gao Ping seriously. He emphasized again, "Maybe they are related to your Sacred Flame sect. But your Sacred Flame sect is big. It doesn't matter if you have them or not. You can name a price. As long as I can afford it, I'll pay you." "Little brother Yang Wu, you don't have to care about us. This is our life." Barbarian Bull held back his anger for a long time and could finally speak. "You cheap bull. What right do you have to speak here?" "Shut up." Gao Ping glared at Barbarian Bull and scolded. Apologize to Brother Bull, Yang Wu said to Gao Ping with a murderous look. Who do you think you are? Is it your turn to criticize our sacred flame sex matters? Do you really think you can be arrogant just because you have some strength? Even if a saint was here, he wouldn't dare to speak to us like this. If you know what's good for you, kneel down and apologize. Be our little brother and maybe you can still live, Gao Ping said fearlessly. Just as he finished speaking, Yang Wu waved his hand and a palm power ruthlessly slapped Gao Ping's face like lightning. Slap! The crisp sound came suddenly and Gao Ping was sent flying. Your sacred flame sex elders don't know how to teach you how to behave. I will teach you on their behalf, Yang Wu said domineeringly. Yang Wu was rarely so aggressive. He would only fly into a rage when someone beside him was hurt. Today, 3 barbarian demons were seriously injured in front of him. He was already restraining his anger. After all, this was other people's family matter. As an outsider, he was considered to be meddling in other people's business. Therefore, he had never killed anyone. But he really wanted to kill Gao Ping in front of him with a punch. Not only did Gao Ping show killing intent to Xue Xiaofan, but he was also so rude to Barbarian Bull. He was furious. He wasn't a barbarian, but he had inherited the barbarian fist. True explanation. This was karma. He had to protect the 3 barbarian demons as much as possible. Gao Ping was stunned by the slap. He was at the peak of the heavenly fish realm. He was only a step away from the dragon transformation realm. Moreover, with his battle talent, he could even fight against a mid-level dragon transformation realm cultivator. Why was he still slapped in the face? I will kill you, Gao Ping roared. His whole body was filled with killing intent. He wanted to kill Yang Wu, but he was stopped by Zhang Byron. A little impatience will lead to chaos. Let the Holy Sun deal with it, Zhang Byron transmitted. How can I swallow this? Gao Ping said with a face full of killing intent. Even if you can't, you have to, Zhang Byron said in a low voice. Gao Ping took a deep breath and glared at Yang Wu. He didn't say anything else. He had already memorized Yang Wu's appearance. He had to take revenge for this slap. Yang Wu, you've gone too far, Infan said to Yang Wu. It doesn't matter if I go too far. State your conditions. Yang Wu replied in a neutral tone. He then said, I won't waste words with you. I know you have a protector secretly following you. He's not weak, but don't be so naive to think that he can kill me. To put it bluntly, even if that protector appears, I can still kill you. Of course, you will all have an imperial edict on you, but I won't give you the chance to tear it. At this moment, Yang Wu released his battle chi. That power comparable to the half-step saint realm enveloped everyone. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on them, making it difficult for them to breathe. Infen's pupils shrank. He realized that he had underestimated Yang Wu's strength. This was a ridiculously strong guy. The others were also shocked. Yang Wu's realm didn't seem to be much higher than theirs, but the pressure that the battle chi gave them was definitely not something that a minor saint realm cultivator could achieve. They were all geniuses, and their willpower was unquestionable. However, they were still not worth mentioning in front of Yang Wu. Tuoba Taishan and Tuoba Changjing were full of fighting spirit. They were the kind of people who grew stronger when they met a strong opponent. Even if they knew that they were not as good as Yang Wu, they still wanted to fight. A figure flew out from the dark. It was a tall man. His hair was white, but his face was only that of a middle-aged man. He was wearing a dark blue armor and had an extremely strong aura. He was the protector who secretly protected the geniuses of the Sacred Flame sect. He had the strength of a half-step saint realm cultivator. The Sacred Flame sect was powerful, but they also had many enemies. When this group of geniuses went out, it would be impossible for them to not have 1 or 2 powerful people to protect them. Young man, you are very strong. The Sacred Flame sect's half-step saint realm cultivator's eyes were like 2 balls of fire as he stared at Yang Wu. Yang Wu raised his head and looked at the half-step Saint Realm cultivator. He replied, "You are just SOSO. Since when did a dragon transformation realm cultivator dare to provoke a half-step Saint Realm cultivator? The difference between the two was like heaven and earth. No one could cross over. If you can survive one of my palms, we will forget about this matter. If I can survive 3 of your palms, how about you let them come with me?" Chapter 881. Half-Saint Octopus Skin of the Sacred Fire Sect was a funny name. When he was very young, many people mocked his parents for being uncultured for giving him such a name. At first, Octopus Skin was mocked for always fighting with others. Even if he was no match for others and was beaten black and blue, he would still fight. No matter how funny his name was, it was not something that others could laugh at. After all, his parents were fishermen. They made a living by fishing. Coincidentally, their surname was Zhang, so they gave him such a name. They hoped that he would be able to fish more octopuses in the future so that he would not starve. Once, he went out to sea with his parents to fish. In the end, they encountered a water monster. His parents died in the monster's stomach. Just as he was about to follow in their footsteps, he was saved by an octopus demon. From then on, he no longer hunted octopuses. Instead, he treated them kindly and lived with them. With the octopus' help, he had many fortuitous encounters and rapidly improved his strength. He also became a disciple of the Sacred Fire Sect. Today, he had the strength of a half-saint. Octopus Skin was still very young. He was ranked in the top 1,000 of the last Heavenly Dragon list. He was in the same generation as Yang Jinghai and Wang Yuyang. Octopus Skin was a half-saint and could easily fight a beginner saint. Therefore, he confidently said that he would let Yang Wu go as long as Yang Wu did not die after taking one blow from him. This was not because he was kind enough to let Yang Wu leave alive. It was because he was confident that as long as he attacked, Yang Wu would definitely die. However, Yang Wu was even more arrogant. He said that he would not die after taking 3 blows from him in exchange for the freedom of the 3 barbarian demons. "Brother Yang Wu, you can't do that," the 3 barbarian demons shouted in unison. Their friendship with Yang Wu was not as deep as they thought. It was already a great honor for Yang Wu to go against the Sacred Fire Sect for them. They did not want Yang Wu to die for them. Yang Wu did not seem to hear them. He continued to stare at Octopus Skin without any intention of backing down. Octopus Pie raised his eyebrows and asked with a faint smile, "Do you know their value?" "They are my friends. Priceless," Yang Wu said resolutely. Infun interrupted and said, "Martial uncle, since Heavenly King Yang Wu wants to experience your skills, then let him do it. If he can take 3 of your palms and not die, then let him go free." The significance of the 3 brute demons was something that everyone in the Sacred Fire Sect knew. However, it didn't mean that they were important. They were just pawns that their sect's elders had set up. In the future, they would use them to increase the sect's foundation. It was hard to say whether the effects would be good or not. If Yang Wu wanted to court death, then he would grant him his wish. Taba Taishan's battle intent surged as he said, "Why don't you fight with me? If I lose, you can take the barbarian elephant." "I'm willing to fight as well," Tuoba Zhangying said. Both of them possessed extraordinary brute force. Ordinary minor saints were no match for them. Therefore, they had the confidence to challenge Yang Wu. "Me too." Gao Peng, who had just been beaten up by Yang Wu, also shouted. Before this, he wasn't prepared. He didn't think that he would lose to Yang Wu. As long as he used his ultimate move, he would definitely be able to kill Yang Wu. "The 3 of you come at me together. I can defeat you and take my friends away." Yang Wu looked at the 3 of them and said, if it was just a fight with them, then it would be easy for him. He could feel the pressure that Octopus Pie gave him. In order to reduce the trouble, it was better to deal with a soft sieve. "Your foundation isn't bad, but you won't be able to take a single punch from him. Octopus Pai looked at Taba Taishan, Tuoba Zhongying, and Gao Peng. Octopus Pai wasn't an ordinary guardian. He was a half-step saint from the Sacred Flame sect who was about to enter the Star Rune realm. The reason he came out this time was because he had just finished his seclusion. He followed the young people out for a walk in search of insights for a breakthrough. His eyesight was more experienced than these young people. Even Infun wasn't a match for this young man, let alone the three of them. Taba Taishan, Tuoba Zhongying, and Gao Peng were splashed with cold water by Octopus Pai. No one dared to refuse. Octopus Pai was much stronger than them. Since he had already said so, they would only be courting death if they continued to force him. If you can take 3 of my palms and survive, you can take them away. Octopus Pai looked at Yang Wu and said, "That's good. Let's begin." Yang Wu replied indifferently, "Young people sure are straightforward." "Here I come," Octopus Skin said with a faint smile. Then, he suddenly attacked. A palm imbued with black waves slapped towards Yang Wu. Everyone only saw a cloud of black mist appear. They couldn't see the trajectory of Octopus Pai's attack. Then, they heard a dull sound. Bang. Octopus Pai's palm imprinted on Yang Wu's body and sent Yang Wu flying. Yang Wu hadn't expected that a dignified semi-sage expert would attack him. He hadn't even given him the slightest chance to prepare. The opposite party was too treacherous. The power of this palm was earth-shattering. Any peak minor saint would have been slapped to death. The people from the Sacred Flame sect also felt that Yang Wu was definitely going to die. The 3 barbarian demons revealed sad expressions. Xue Xiaofan also had a worried look on his face. He did not want the master he had just acknowledged to die just like that. Yang Wu didn't die. His body smashed against the mountain wall and hurt a little, but it was far from fatal. His saint body wasn't made of paper. First palm. 2 more. Come again. Yang Wu patted his chest and replied to Octopus Pai. The young people of Sacred Flame sect revealed a shocked expression. Yang Wu was strong enough to challenge a half-step saint? He's really a formidable opponent. Infun exclaimed in his heart. Tuoba Taishan, Tuoba Chang'an and Gao Peng had a complicated expression. They were already the most outstanding among the young generation, but they didn't have the confidence to survive a half-step saint's attack. They finally recognized the fact that Yang Wu's strength was far above them. Your body is at least at the half-step saint level. It's really powerful, Octopus Pai praised. If his body wasn't at the half-step saint level, how could he receive his palm strike so easily? His opponent wasn't wearing any defensive armor. More or less, Yang Wu replied indifferently. I only used 50% of my strength. This time, I'll use 70%. I hope you can still be so calm. Octopus Pai spoke with a trace of sharpness. An octopus demon appeared behind him. A black light appeared in the center of its palm. This light contained a majestic power. It was as if the sea water was condensed in its palm. The power it emitted made the surrounding people breathless. They couldn't help but retreat far away. They were afraid of being caught in the aftermath of the palm strike. Little brother Yang Wu, don't worry about us. Man Hu begged. We won't die if we go with them. You can rest assured. Man Nyo said. It's not worth it to lose your life for us. Barbarian Elephant said. Xue Xiaofan, who was beside them, said, My master won't die. The people from the Sacred Flame sect stared at the palm strike. They hoped that this palm strike would kill Yang Wu. Yang Wu could feel how terrifying the palm strike was, but he still wasn't afraid. The black tortoise armor appeared on his body. It was as if there were 8 trigrams that wrapped around him. He entered his strongest defense mode. Octopus Pai's second palm strike was like a sea that exploded in front of Yang Wu. The terrifying power was like the end of the world. It was incomparably shocking. This was 70% of the palm strike's power, but it was already stronger than many peak half-step saints. He was worthy of being ranked in the top 1,000 of the previous Heavenly Dragon ranking. When the palm strike's power fell on Yang Wu's armor, the 8 trigrams seemed to come alive. It reversed the flow of energy and produced an extremely powerful force. The palm strike's power was completely neutralized. The seawater that was contained in the palm strike splashed everywhere, but it couldn't touch his body at all. The power behind this palm strike was very strong, and Yang Wu's body was shaken to the point of falling back, leaving a mark on the ground that was more than 10 feet long. His body once again heavily smashed into the mountain wall, and after a full 10 breaths, the power of the palm strike disappeared. Yang Wu was still fine. The black tortoise armor on his body was still full. It wasn't damaged at all. This was the black tortoise armor's strongest defense. The people from the Sacred Flame sect were shocked once again. They really couldn't imagine how Yang Wu could have such a strong defensive power. This could only be achieved by matching his battle strength. Could it be that Yang Wu is in the half-step saint realm? Everyone had the same thought. Yang Wu looked only 18 years old. Even if his real age was 21, it was too shocking for him to reach such a realm at such a young age. The black tortoise armor of the Yang family really lives up to its reputation. Do you know Yang Jinghai? Octopus Skin praised in surprise. Of course, the patriarch of the Yang family knows him, Yang Wu replied. Yes, he has become the patriarch of the Yang family. In the previous Heavenly Dragon ranking, I lost to that guy by 1 move. His defensive armor is far worse than yours. You will definitely have a place in the top 100 of this year's Heavenly Dragon ranking. Octopus Skin gave Yang Wu a thumbs up. He paused and said, "Let's forget about it. I won't pursue the matter of you injuring my disciple, but these 3 guys must go back to the Sacred Flame sect with us. Otherwise, we won't be able to report back." Octopus Skin actually compromised. This was not the result that others wanted. Yang Wu had blocked 2 palms and was not hurt at all. It would be easy for him to block the 3rd palm. Since the result was already decided, why not take a step back? It would be better for both sides and they would not lose face. Thinking of this, the people of the Sacred Flame sect felt relieved. Yin Fun also said, "Since Martial Uncle and the patriarch of the Yang family know each other, let's end this matter here." The people of the Sacred Flame sect were unwilling, especially those who had been beaten by Yang Wu. Their eyes still showed traces of hatred. However, Yang Wu was too powerful. Even their martial uncle could not hurt Yang Wu. What else could they be unconvinced about? The 3 barbarian demons also felt that this was the best result. They were willing to leave with the people of the Sacred Flame sect as long as they did not make things difficult for Yang Wu. Unexpectedly, Yang Wu said, "Please use the 3rd palm." Chapter 882. Yang Wu wasn't someone who didn't know what was good for him. Octopus Skin had already given him a way out. If it were anyone else, they would have stopped by now. However, Yang Wu still insisted. This was not giving the Sacred Flame sect any face. "You're quite confident," Octopus Skin sneered. "Martial Uncle, don't hold back anymore. Otherwise, he will look down on our Sacred Flame sect." Yin Fun echoed. "Martial Uncle, please go all out and teach him a lesson." Gao Ping was full of anger. They were all Heaven's prides of giant forces. They really couldn't stand Yang Wu's indifferent attitude. The 3 barbarian demons didn't expect Yang Wu to be so persistent for their sake. They were touched and worried at the same time. Yang Wu's actions were equivalent to shedding all pretense of cordiality with the Sacred Flame sect. This was definitely not a good thing. The Sacred Flame sect wouldn't let this matter rest. However, Yang Wu was extremely determined. They couldn't persuade him. Yang Wu was not a stupid person. He had his own reasons for persisting. Since he and the 3 berserker demons had become brothers a long time ago, he would not abandon them and not care about them. Octopus Skin looked at Yang Wu and smiled faintly. "Do you really want to take the 3rd palm strike?" "Yes." "Then this time, the force might be a little too strong. You might die. Is it worth it?" You talk too much nonsense. Octopus Skin was a semi-saint. Now that Yang Wu had insulted him like this, the heavens prides of the Sacred Flame sect were all furious. If it weren't for Yang Wu's strength, they would have ganged up on Yang Wu and beat him so badly that even his parents wouldn't recognize him. Then you have to take it well, Octopus Skin said faintly. An octopus phantom appeared behind him. Its long mouth produced an inexplicable suction force. In an instant, the heaven and earth mysterious chi in all directions surged. There seemed to be a faint star in the sky. A wisp of invisible force shot out and landed on Octopus Skin. He opened one of his palms. A dark green light appeared in his palm. He murmured, "This palm strike is called Fish Mouth Spike. This is the octopus's way of hunting. It usually succeeds. Take it well." Others only knew that the octopus's most powerful part was its 8 tentacles. Few people knew that the octopus's mouth was even more powerful than an arrow. Could spit out venom and shoot enemies like arrows. Octopus Skin sent out his third palm strike. Suddenly, dark green energy surged towards Yang Wu from all directions. It contained a dense corrosive force. Yang Wu's black tortoise battle armor could dissipate the attack's power, but it couldn't. The corrosive force penetrated directly. The black tortoise battle armor shrunk, and its defensive power plummeted. At the same time, a palm struck heavily towards Yang Wu like an arrow. The palm's power was like a hot knife through butter. The power it carried had been raised to the Star Rune realm. It was a true Saint Palm. The palm force was astonishing and strange. The surrounding people were forced to roll away. That terrifying aura was truly frightening. Yang Wu instantly revealed a dignified expression. He circulated the power faster and faster, pushing out the poison that had penetrated his body. The fist that he had kept in his abdomen also blasted out at this moment. The true martial realm descended. The fist's power was heaven-defying. Bang! The fist and the palm collided with each other, causing the ground to tremble and the mountains to shake. If it wasn't for the fact that they were on the divine mountain, this place would have been razed to the ground. The surrounding people were so frightened that they were sent flying far away. Even the 3 injured barbarian demons quickly got up and brought Xue Xiaofan away from this place. Fortunately, the 2 of them didn't completely release their aura. Otherwise, the people nearby wouldn't have been able to escape. They would all be injured or killed. When this wave of power completely dissipated, Yang Wu was sent crashing into the mountain wall. Octopus Skin stood on the spot with a look of intense shock on his face. He quickly composed himself and called out to the people from the Sacred Flame sect, "Leave these 3 brute demons to him." These words meant that Yang Wu had withstood 3 palm strikes. The people from the Sacred Flame sect couldn't believe that this was the truth. Octopus Skin had indeed used all his strength just now and struck out with a power comparable to a sage's. It was really hard for them to accept that Yang Wu could still withstand it. How old was Yang Wu? He already had the ability to challenge the sage realm. If he was allowed to continue growing, wouldn't he be an invincible young king? Yin Fun was very upset. He had grown up with a halo around him. His cultivation talent was outstanding, and he was also extremely hard-working. The speed at which he improved his realm was the same as the top geniuses of the various major forces. He had the potential to reach the top in the future. However, compared to Yang Wu, he seemed to be far behind. He thought to himself, "He must have gotten a great opportunity to become so powerful. I have to work harder." Here, Huang Fu Mingyu walked down the heavenly ladder. Her injuries were almost healed. The aura of the heavenly fish realm was unmistakable. She, who was already beautiful and refined, seemed to have an even more elegant temperament. She was like a beautiful jade covered by dirt, gradually revealing its bright and beautiful side. The geniuses of the Sacred Flame sect looked at her with a hint of amazement in their eyes. Yang Wu walked out of the mountain wall. Apart from some dust on his body, there was nothing strange about him. If one looked carefully, they would find that the arm he used to punch was slightly bent and blood was seeping out. It was obvious that this arm had suffered a serious injury. Yang Wu's physical body was sanctified in the dragon transformation realm. He was not the only one, but he was definitely very rare among the younger generation. He didn't dare to say that he was the only one because the transcendence realm was boundless. There were definitely many geniuses, especially the geniuses cultivated by the major forces since childhood. They were not born, but once they were born, they would amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. They were definitely not inferior to Yang Wu. Octopus Skin had the strength of a semi-sage, and was ranked in the top 1,000 of the last Heavenly Dragon list. His combat strength was so strong that he might not be unafraid even if he faced a first-level star pattern saint. It was reasonable for Yang Wu to be injured. If the two of them fought without restraint, it was hard to say who would emerge victorious. Huang Fu Mingyu looked at Yang Wu, and Yang Wu also looked at her. He smiled and said to her, "Long time no see." She treated him like air and turned her face away, ignoring him. She loved and hated this man who made her first love. Yang Wu was slightly embarrassed. He cupped his hands at Octopus Skin and said, "Thank you for showing mercy." "I didn't show mercy. It's because you are strong enough." Octopus Skin looked at Yang Wu, who had become humble, and said, "Today, I lost the bet and let you take them away, but it doesn't mean that this matter is over. The dignity of my sect is not so easily challenged. Moreover, the three of them are experimental subjects that the old man in my sect deliberately raised. If you insist on taking them away, there might be quite a bit of trouble in the future. You should consider it carefully." Octopus Skin's words were not false. Yang Wu had shown enough talent, and his future was limitless. He didn't mind reminding Yang Wu so that he wouldn't die young without knowing why. Yang Wu replied, "I will make a decision after talking with my two brothers and sister. If they want freedom, I will grant them their wish. I will bear the consequences alone. If they still choose the Sacred Flame sect, I will not stop them. I only want to have a clear conscience." "Haha, what a nice, clear conscience. In that case, we will wait for you at the foot of the mountain for a day." Octopus Skin gave Yang Wu a thumbs up and laughed. He then led the people from the Sacred Flame sect down the mountain. Yin Fun looked at Yang Wu seriously and said faintly, "See you at the Heavenly Dragon List tournament." Huang Fu Mingyu didn't say anything. She treated Yang Wu like air. A few people showed dissatisfaction with Yang Wu, but they didn't dare to say anything. They buried their resentment in their hearts. One day they would teach Yang Wu a lesson. The people from the Sacred Flame sect all went down the mountain. Yang Wu walked towards the three barbarian beasts. Their injuries were much better and they could once again transform into human form. Yang Wu little. Brother Yang Wu, old elephant doesn't know what to say. Barbarian Elephant looked at Yang Wu with difficulty. Yang Wu waved his hand and said, "Brother Elephant, don't say anything. This is what I insisted on doing. You don't have to feel burdened." He paused for a moment and looked at the three beasts. He said seriously, "Like I said, you still have a choice. If you want to return to the Sacred Flame sect, I will not stop you. If you don't want to go back, I can take you away from here. In the future, the Sacred Flame sect won't harass you. You just have to follow your heart." Barbarian Bull said straightforwardly, "Brother Yang Wu, in the future, I, Old Bull, will be by your side. It will be better than seeing those arrogant fellows." "Third brother, don't talk nonsense. We have already caused trouble for Brother Yang Wu. We can't cause more trouble for him." She looked at Yang Wu and said gratefully, "Little brother Yang Wu, you've become more and more powerful. We're happy for you from the bottom of our hearts, especially since you treat us like brothers and sisters. We're even more touched. When you stood up for us just now, I wanted to cry. I'm proud to have a brother like you, but I still have to say that you offended the Sacred Flame sect for us. I feel that it's not worth it. You have a bright future ahead of you and will definitely become a saint in the future. while we'll only be guardian beasts of the Sacred Flame sect. We'll be at their beck and call. You should leave quickly. We'll follow them back to the Sacred Flame sect. When we become saints in the future, they won't treat us like this anymore. When we reach the saint realm, we will become saints. Barbarian Tiger couldn't help but cry. Who said that a tigress didn't have feelings? This was a tigress with feelings. Barbarian Elephant nodded heavily and said, "We are just slaves. It's not worth mentioning. We are satisfied to have a brother like you. When you become famous, we will boast to others that you are our brother." Barbarian Bull opened his mouth and wanted to say something. However, he swallowed his words. His brother and sister's words were reasonable. They didn't have a reason to implicate Yang Wu. Since we are brothers, let's go together. Chapter 883. Yang Wu was not an indecisive person. The more the three barbarian beasts spoke, the more he felt that they did not want to return to the Sacred Flame sect, so he decided to help them. The Sacred Flame sect was powerful, but they might not be able to threaten every corner of the transcendent world. Finding a safe place for the three barbarian beasts should not be too difficult. Yang Wu did not waste any more words with them. He took out a few jars of wine and threw them at them. He said seriously, "Who doesn't want to live a good life? Don't be so wishy-washy, or else you won't treat me as a brother." The three barbarian beasts received Yang Wu's wine and drank it happily. Barbarian Bull drank very quickly and quickly finished the jar. The wine gave him courage as he said loudly, "Brother Yang Wu, from now on I will follow your orders. If you want me to beat someone, even if I have to risk my life, I will beat them up." Barbarian Tiger said, "Although I am ugly and not very strong, if anyone dares to bully you in the future, even if I have to sacrifice my body, I will make them die from exhaustion." Pooh! Yang Wu immediately spat out the wine that he had just drank and sprayed it all over Barbarian Bull. He was extremely embarrassed. "Brother Bull, I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose." Barbarian Tiger was indeed very sexy in her human form. She had curves in all the right places, but it was a pity that she had tiger stripes on her face. Her appearance did not suit the human race's sense of beauty. It was no wonder that Yang Wu spat out the wine when he heard her words. "Haha, when second sister is serious, she is very scary." Barbarian Elephant laughed and then said seriously, "Since brother Yang Wu thinks so highly of us, then we will climb up the social ladder. The three of us have been placed in the Divine Mountain since we were young. Other than protecting the barbarian race's bloodline, the most important thing is to borrow the Divine Mountain's mysterious power to temper our bodies. These years, our strength has been slowly increasing. Although it is not obvious, we always feel that there is an extraordinary power in our bodies. Once we leave the Divine Mountain, we will be able to explode and our cultivation will increase by leaps and bounds. This is also the reason why the Sacred Flame sect wants to bring us back." "There is such a power in the Divine Mountain?" Yang Wu asked in astonishment. "When we become the Divine Mountain's guardian, we will be given this power." Barbarian Elephant replied, "The Sacred Flame sect left us here and ignored us for 1,000 years. Now they say they'll bring us back and they'll bring us back. Moreover, they even sent a few youngsters to give us looks. They're really looking down on us," Barbarian Bull said with a belly full of anger. "They are people above others. Why would they put us in their eyes?" Man Who said from the side, "And Sacred Flame sect, unless they send a saint." Yang Wu said. And Sacred sect said, "Say they. Sacred to see. They. To. There are records of a mighty figure from the Sacred Fire sect who disappeared after reaching the top, never to be seen again. That could be a place that leads to another world. The stairway to heaven is incomparably mysterious. If we can reach the top, there will only be benefits. Unfortunately, our talents are mediocre, and we can't even reach the 40th step. Yang Wu chatted with the 3 barbarian demons about the past before bringing them down the mountain. Xue Xiaofan followed closely behind. He was already full of admiration for Yang Wu in his heart. These 3 were the barbarian tribe's Dharma protectors. Now they were brothers with his master. Moreover, they were obedient to his master. Xue Xiaofan couldn't help but worship them. To him, the guardian of the barbarian tribe was already the strongest person here. Then, his master was probably the most powerful person in the world. However, in his heart, he was still determined to become the most powerful person in the field of artifact forging. His foster father was the only god in his heart. Yang Wu and his group reached the bottom of the mountain. Only Zhang Byron was left from the Sacred Fire sect. When he saw Yang Wu, he smiled and said, "My senior brother knows of your choice. They are already on their way back to the Sacred Fire sect. In the future, you will be our Sacred Fire sect's enemy, and the 3 of them will also become traitors of the Sacred Fire sect. I hope you can withstand the pursuit of our Sacred Fire sect." After he finished speaking, his body floated and he quickly left the place. The expressions of the 3 barbarian demons became ugly. On the contrary, Yang Wu indifferently comforted them. Then, he went to find Lu Ji, Dan Zi, Ai Sha and the others and prepared to head to the Sacred Fire sect's Spirit Formation Passage. Yang Wu still chose the Spirit Formation Passage because he believed that the people from the Sacred Fire sect would definitely not expect him to do the opposite. After all, there was an old saying, "The more dangerous the place, the safer it is." When Lu Ji, Dan Zi and the others saw that Yang Wu brought back the 3 transformed barbarian demons, they all revealed curious expressions. However, they did not ask. Yang Wu had his own reasons for doing things. It was not their place to interfere. Their group deliberately slowed down their pace and slowly rushed to a place called the Bo-Si country. The Sacred Fire sect's Spirit Formation Passage was there, and the Bo-Si country was the strongest country in the Sacred Fire sect's mortal world. With the speed of Yang Wu's group, no matter how slow they were, after a month of rushing, they crossed several countries and arrived at the border of the Bo-Si country. During this month, Yang Wu had been teaching his 3 disciples. He explained the techniques of refining pills to Dan Zi and taught her 1/3 of the incantation of the Soul Control Sutra to help her increase her soul power and help her refine pills. Dan Zi had obtained a wisp of Yang Wu's sacred fire and was in the refining stage. Her strength was steadily increasing, and with the incantation of the Soul Control Sutra, her speed of improvement was clearly faster. Ai Sha was the most tenacious among the 3 disciples and had the best comprehension ability. When Yang Wu taught her the battle skills and cultivation methods, she could quickly comprehend them and even display them to the proficient or even complete stage. The only flaw was that she was not very patient. Once she learned a battle skill, she would not want to continue studying it and would not be able to cultivate it to the perfect stage. Xue Xiaofan was a little more puzzled. His comprehension ability was far inferior to Ai Sha's, but he was more diligent. Every day, he would stand in a stance and cultivate. He also took out a set of simple forging tools and used them to forge iron. He had set a small goal for himself. First, he would forge 10,000 pieces of iron. Later, he would forge 100,000 pieces or even 1,000,000 pieces. Only when the iron was forged well would he be able to forge the best weapon in the world. Yang Wu would impart his insights according to each person's characteristic. Whether or not they could reap any benefits would depend on their individual abilities. He didn't force them to become very powerful. Dan Zi was indeed quite talented in the Tao of alchemy. Many alchemy methods could be seen from small details. Originally, when refining a king pill, she had attracted a first-level pill tribulation. After receiving Yang Wu's guidance, she could already attract a second-level pill tribulation. Don't underestimate this 1-star pill tribulation. This meant that the quality of the alchemical pill would be greatly improved. It also meant that a cauldron of alchemical pills could be refined into several more alchemical pills. Its significance was extraordinary. Danzi was incomparably happy that she had made progress. She also worshipped and admired her master more and more. She silently thought to herself, in the future, when I find a man, I have to find someone like master. In fact, even when she closed her eyes, she still looked like her master. Although the two of them were master and disciple, there wasn't much of a difference in age. Every time Danzi finished refining an alchemical pill, Aisha would immediately greet her a few times. Eldest senior sister is amazing. Danzi was very happy. Without any hesitation, she would reward her with alchemical pills. In this way, Aisha already had several king pills. Meanwhile, she was only a mortal general. To her, king pills were an extraordinary fortune. Xue Xiaofan didn't know how to flatter this kind of person, so he didn't receive anything. However, the three barbarian demons liked to get close to Xiaofan. After all, he had the barbarian race's bloodline. Ever since Xue Xiaofan ascended the heavenly stairway, the power of his bloodline had awakened. His entire body was filled with power. The sound of forging was incomparably loud. In the future, it wouldn't be difficult for him to become an outstanding tool forger. Yang Wu didn't have any tool forger scrolls, so he couldn't help him in this aspect for the time being. He could only wait until he reached the transcendent realm to find some related books for him. Alternatively, he could find a tool forger in his clan to teach him. At least, he wouldn't waste his life. Su Yenshui didn't speak much along the way. He had become much quieter. From time to time, he would smoke his pipe and exhale clouds of smoke. His face had a somewhat aged expression. Especially when they met young women on the road, he would make smoke rings out of his mouth. This caused the young women's beautiful eyes to continuously look over. Such a handsome man who didn't care about his appearance was indeed very attractive to them. At this time, Aisha couldn't help but secretly laugh and say, Uncle Yen, you've become even more handsome." Su Yenshui's old face blushed. He coughed dryly and didn't know how to respond. This old man was also shy. The most helpless person was the beautiful military advisor. He rode a dragon horse like a heroic beauty. When passing by men saw him, they couldn't take their eyes off him. Their saliva flowed out from the corners of their mouth. Several times there were men who struck up a conversation with him. At first, he pointed to his throat and explained, "I'm a man." But as more and more men struck up a conversation with him, he didn't want to be reasonable. He released his heavenly fish realm and swatted these men away like mosquitoes. Aisha couldn't help but laugh. "Uncle Lu, how many men's hearts have you broken?" Danzi also laughed heartlessly. "A grown man is more beautiful than me. Serves him right to be harassed. Is it wrong to be handsome?" Lu Ji shook his elegant long hair and said in distress. No one would think that he was narcissistic. He was really attractive to both men and women, which made Su Yenshui very jealous. Sometimes, Su Yenshui had the impulse to beat someone up. The young women he had attracted with great difficulty would eventually notice Lu Ji. This made him completely lose the impulse to chat with them at night. He would despise those young women in his heart. What a tasteless countrywoman. On the other hand, the core of the group, Yang Wu, was much more low-key. Other than teaching his disciples, he was mentally wandering. Chapter 884. Letting one's mind wander was not an easy task. Only a saint at the Star Mark realm could do it. Yang Wu's cultivation of the Soul Control Heart Sutra was getting better and better, and he had already formed a war soul. After forming a war soul, he could leave his body to fight, but it was still not easy to let one's mind wander. He had to reach the final stage of the Heart Sutra, the Soul Control state. The Soul Control stage was divided into 3 smaller stages: Mind Wander, Soul Refinement, and Soul Dripping. Each stage contained a different ability, and it was extremely difficult to advance. Yang Wu had long reached the War Soul realm, and he could even split his soul. However, he had to wait until he broke through to the dragon transformation realm. His physical body was sanctified, and his soul was sanctified. Only then could he reach the mind wander stage. When the mind wander, one could use the war soul to fly and burrow into the ground. One could use the war soul to look at everything in the world without using the naked eye. Just like a saint, one would become extremely powerful, and ordinary warriors would not be able to compare to them. Yang Wu's battle soul left his body, like a ghost flying between the heavens and earth. Wherever his soul power went, everything below would enter his mind. For example, there was a child in the village playing the flute while riding on an ox, or a man and a fat woman rolling around in the fields. Other than these living images, he could also see strands of remnant souls wandering between the heavens and earth. These were the remnant souls of the dead. They did not have the time to reincarnate, or they had left behind an obsession. They were unwilling to die and were still wandering between the heavens and earth, unwilling to leave. Yang Wu could see many things that he could not see in the past. This was the magical aspect of mind wander. Fortunately, this was the mortal world, and he did not meet any experts who could sense his spying. If he was in the transcendent realm, it would be different. There were many experts there, and he might even meet a saint. If the other party sensed the existence of his soul, it would be disastrous. After all, spying on others was a taboo. After Yang Wu's mind wander ended, they quietly appeared in the territory of the Bo Si country. The boundary passage was located at a place where the Bo Si country's army was stationed, and it was not far from the Bo Si city. Yang Wu and his group rushed to the vicinity of the boundary passage. A total of 3,000 soldiers were stationed there. Every soldier had the strength of a human general. There were close to 100 kings and 5 heavenly fish realm commanders. The strength of this army was much stronger than that of Great Xia and the barbarian army. Yang Wu had already seen it when his mind was wandering. The Bo Si kingdom did indeed have the demeanor of a powerful nation. After Yang Wu and his party arrived, soldiers immediately intercepted them. A commander of the heavenly fish realm appeared riding a spirit demon. The other party was dressed in battle armor and looked majestic. His eyes swept over Yang Wu and his party like lightning, revealing a look of surprise. Over the years, he had been guarding the boundary passage. Other than those who came and went from the transcendent world, those who dared to come here were either old monsters who had cultivated for many years or martial arts maniacs who were ranked at the top. A group of young people like the one in front of him was really rare. "You are?" the commander guarding the barrier asked cautiously. He did not dare to underestimate the other party just because there were a few young men and women here. There might be 1 or 2 powerful figures leading them, especially the 3 spirit demons who had transformed into human form. They gave him a very strong sense of oppression. He would not be afraid because the other party had heaven realm experts. However, there was nothing wrong with being careful in front of the boundary passage. If by any chance they provoked a powerful enemy that they could not afford to provoke, their 3,000 people would not even be enough to fill the gaps between the other party's teeth. "We are people who want to pass through," Yang Wu said faintly. He took out a bag of Xian spirit stones and threw it at the other party. Even if Yang Wu and his party could use force to suppress others, they still did not do so. Instead, they did things according to the rules. After the commander received the Xian spirit stones, he measured them and waved his hand, ordering, "Let them pass." They were stationed here only to collect money. It was unknown whether these people could pass the test of the astral wind power in the boundary space. Yang Wu and his party smoothly headed toward the boundary passage. There were strands of astral wind power floating there. It was the astral wind passage. This was the test for martial artists from the mortal world to enter the transcendent realm. If they could not even withstand the astral wind power, they could forget about entering the transcendent realm. The soldiers stationed here all stared at the group of people, watching as they slowly stepped into the astral wind power. According to the previous situation, this group of people would definitely resist the power with all their strength. There would even be people who would be torn into a pool of blood on the spot. In the end, only 1 or 2 people would be able to pass through shakily. Who would have thought that when they walked into the astral wind passage, the astral wind power would be like ordinary wind? It would only cause their clothes to flutter, and there was no way to hurt them at all. The commander's hand trembled, and the bag of Xian's spirit stones instantly fell to the ground. He hurriedly flipped down from his mount and kowtowed, saying, "I did not know that a mortal had returned to the upper realm. This lowly one admits his mistake." The 3,000 soldiers here all knelt down, and their unyielding spirit instantly collapsed. In their opinion, only people from the transcendent realm could be fearless of the astral wind power and easily enter the boundary passage. Other people from the mortal world did not have this ability. People from the transcendent realm did not need to pay a toll when returning to the transcendent realm from the mortal world. This was also the reason why the commander knelt down. If they met an immortal from the transcendent realm with a bad temper, it was enough for them to die several times. Yang Wu and his party did not care about this at all. A few of them were looking around. Looking at the astral wind that kept blowing past them, their hearts were still trembling. The wind power seems to be very strong, but why can't it hurt us? Aisha said doubtfully. She stretched out her hand, wanting to touch the astral wind that was blowing fiercely. Before she could stretch out her hand, a power bound her hand, causing her to be unable to move. Yang Wu's voice sounded, "If you don't want your hand to be crippled, then don't move." Danzi hurriedly explained to Aisha from the side, "Junior sister, these astral winds can tear apart heaven realm experts. The reason why we can pass through so smoothly is because Master is protecting us. Otherwise, it would not be so easy for us to pass through." Aisha was scared witless. She quickly lowered her head and said, "Sorry, Master, I was just curious." It's not wrong to be curious, but before you are curious, you should understand the situation. Otherwise, if you suffer a great loss, you will have no place to cry," Yang Wu said. He then continued, "When we reach the boundary passage, there is no need to panic. That is a passage that connects 2 worlds. It contains an unparalleled power that will allow us to cross through endless space in an instant." Lu Ji, Su Yenshui, Aisha, Shuexiaofan, and the 6 spirit demons all took Yang Wu's words to heart. The astral wind's power was indeed extraordinary. Even some heaven realm martial cultivators who did not have a solid foundation would be directly torn apart. Those with a solid foundation could even pass through in the early stage of the heavenly fish realm. This was only the first test. There was still the second test, the soul-blowing passage. The master of the soul-blowing passage was a test for the willpower of the soul. Those with a weak soul would also be destroyed by the soul-blowing wind, and die in the passage. Only those with a strong willpower could pass through. Yang Wu's group brought them to the soul-blowing passage. The soul-blowing wind was like a demon, brandishing its claws as it charged towards them. Aisha screamed in fright. Shuexiaofan was also trembling, but he still courageously stood in front of Aisha. He held an unsharpened iron weapon and trembled as he said, Senior sister, don't be afraid. I'll protect you. These are all soul-destroying demonic winds. They specifically test willpower. If your willpower is strong enough to withstand the test, you will receive great benefit. Who wants to give it a try?" Yang Wu explained and turned to look at Lu Ji, Su Yenshui, and the others. "I'll give it a try." Su Yenshui was worthy of being a fierce general on the battlefield. He spoke without fear. Thus, Yang Wu removed the protection of his power and allowed him to be enveloped by the soul-blowing wind. Suddenly, Su Yenshui felt as if his soul was being pierced by thousands of needles and gnawed by thousands of insects. It was so painful that he held his head and screamed, "Ah!" Yang Wu opened his mouth and said, "Guard your heart. Persevere for as long as you can." Su Yenshui was only at the peak of the Earth-Sea realm. This soul-blowing wind was more than enough to deal with the soul of a heaven realm cultivator. It was not easy for him to grit his teeth and hold on. Just as he was about to faint, Yang Wu's power enveloped him and isolated him from the soul-blowing wind. He then took out a soul-nurturing pill and fed it to him. Ai Sha and Shui Xiaofan watched Su Yenshui being tormented like this. They were so scared that their faces turned pale. They prayed that their master would not force them to endure this torment. After Yang Wu stabilized Su Yenshui, he looked at Lu Ji and said, "Beautiful military advisor, do you want to give it a try?" Lu Ji shrank back and said, "Not even if you beat me to death. You are at the peak of the heavenly fish realm. Giving it a try will be good for your soul. It will also be good for breaking through to the dragon transformation realm." Yang Wu guided him. "I don't plan on becoming that strong. I just want to be an array master. Let me see if this is a passageway set up by an array." Lu Ji said in a cowardly manner, "I haven't experienced this kind of treatment since I came down from the transcendent realm. I'll go out and give it a try. Master, remember to look after me." Danzi said this and had Yang Wu remove his protective power so that she could endure the power of the soul-blowing wind. The soul-blowing wind was like a demon entering one's soul and constantly biting at it. This kind of pain was 100 times worse than being injured in the flesh. Danzi was indeed someone who came down from the transcendent realm. Her soul was strong to begin with, and after cultivating the Soul Control Sutra, her improvement was even more obvious. Facing this soul-blowing wind was much better than Su Yenshui's. She endured it and did not make a sound, silently using the Soul Control Sutra to resist this power. Yang Wu silently praised in his heart, "Not bad." Danzi persisted for about 15 minutes before she could no longer hold on. Her soul's defense failed, and she began to roll around in pain. Yang Wu watched her being tormented for about 15 minutes before he protected her. He then looked at the other spirit demons and said, "You guys go and experience it too." Chapter 885. Once a spirit Yao reached the Demon King realm, they would form a demon core. It was the crystallization of a spirit Yao's energy. It was equivalent to the energy stored in a human's dantian. However, the demon soul also existed in it. Unlike humans, the dantian and the soul were in two different places. They each had their own function. Therefore, the three brute Yao, the silver-patterned tortoise, and the fire-cloud tiger had a much easier time resisting the soul-blowing wind than Su Yenshui and Danzi. The dragon horse had not even reached the Demon King realm. It was too weak and did not need to go through this torment. The three brute Yao forcefully braved the soul-blowing wind and passed through without feeling any discomfort. The silver-patterned tortoise was the same. It had already reached the heavenly fish realm and was not much weaker than the three brute Yao. The fire-cloud tiger was far weaker. It only had the strength of a demon king. It only lasted for half an hour before it cried out, "Master, save me! Save me! I can't hold on any longer." This fellow's courage was not ordinary. Yang Wu did not force it. He enveloped the fire-cloud tiger with his power and brought them through the soul-blowing wind tunnel. In the future, no matter what kind of dangerous situation you encounter, just treat it as a form of training. You won't have any fear in your heart. A martial artist can only advance bravely. The stronger the opponent, the more powerful they become. Yang Wu warned the disciples around him. The disciples engraved this in their hearts. Ai Sha asked, "If we don't run when we encounter danger, what will we do if we accidentally die?" "Then we will die." Yang Wu glanced at her and said calmly. He paused for a moment and added, "Act according to your strength. Seek fortune and avoid calamity. These will not contradict each other." "Master, are you saying that, if we encounter a problem that we can overcome, we should persevere? If we encounter a danger that we cannot overcome, we should avoid it?" Shui Xiaofan, who had always been quiet, asked. Yang Wu smiled and nodded. You are worth teaching. At this time, they appeared in front of the spirit formation passage. Lu Ji, Su Yinshui, Shui Xiaofan, and Ai Sha all revealed curious expressions as they sized up the gate of light. They wanted to see what this spirit formation passage looked like. Lu Ji looked even more attentively. He exclaimed in admiration, "The art of formations is truly unfathomable. Just by relying on this door of light, it can lead to another world. In the future, I will definitely become such a great formation master." It had to be said that Lu Ji was incomparably obsessed with the Tao of formations, and his talent was also incomparably outstanding. You can definitely do it, Yang Wu said with absolute certainty. In the transcendent world, array masters are as popular as alchemists and artificers. Especially when searching for various mystic realms, array masters are even more important. Danzi said from the side. How important is it? Hurry up and tell me. Lu Ji asked excitedly. Any faction needs to set up a formation. They will hire a formation master to set up a formation for them with a high reward. Especially the spatial doors between cities. Every year, the maintenance fee paid to the formation master is astronomical. Or when searching for mystic realms, there will be various incomplete formations that are extremely dangerous. They will need to find a formation master to break the formation. Naturally, the formation master will receive sufficient compensation. Danzi explained to Lu Ji some of the situations regarding formation masters in the transcendent world. Hearing this, Lu Ji's eyes revealed a yearning expression. Haha, then wouldn't this military advisor become the target of various factions in the future? I am indeed a genius. Lu Ji looked up to the sky and laughed complacently. If they can't rope you in, you will be the person that every faction wants to get rid of the most. Yang Wu poured a bucket of cold water and said. Lu Ji instantly shrunk his body and said, It can't be that dangerous, right? It will only be more dangerous. Let's go. You will know when we reach the transcendent world. The Sacred Flame sect was located in the transcendent world's Yinliang domain. It was located in the southeast and was on the opposite side of the Hidden Sky domain. The distance between them was incomparably great. There were Dian Lake Domain, Chuandu Domain, Xiangjiang Domain, Guangnan Domain, and several other domains in between. Other than the Sacred Flame sect, there were two other powerful factions in the Yinliang domain. One was the Yinyang cult, which was as famous as the Sacred Flame sect, and the other was the Dan clan. The Yinyang cult and the Sacred Flame sect were located in the east and south respectively. They were both major factions. Both sides were constantly in conflict over territory. As for the Dan clan, it was a first-rate faction. Although it could not be compared to the two great sects, not only did the two great sects not see them as a thorn in their side, they even treated them as important guests. No one dared to offend them. This was because the Dan clan was a family of alchemists. Their alchemy abilities were extremely powerful. There were 8 alchemists in the clan. It was rumored that there was an existence that was infinitely close to the god level. The Sacred Flame sect and the Yinyang cult also had alchemists, but they could not be compared to the Dan clan. They still had to buy many pills from the Dan clan. If any of the sects offended the Dan clan and the Dan clan formed an alliance with the other sect, the balance would be completely broken. This was a situation that no sect wanted to happen. It was because of this that the Dan clan could live a good life here. After Yang Wu and his group arrived at the Yinliang domain through the boundary passage, they arrived at the border of the Sacred Flame sect's territory. It was extremely close to the Dan clan's territory. At the exit of the boundary passage, there were people from the Sacred Flame sect's affiliated forces guarding it. However, these people were only ordinary Heavenly Fish Realm cultivators. After Yang Wu displayed his astonishing aura, they did not even dare to breathe loudly. They obediently sent Yang Wu and his group off. Yang Wu had followed the rules at the entrance of the mortal world's boundary passage, but he did not follow the rules in the transcendent realm. Everyone was puzzled. Yang Wu explained to them, cultivators cannot bully the weak. When I came up from the mortal world, I gave them profound spirit stones because I did not want to make things difficult for them. Now that we are here, I have to display enough strength because most of the people here are people who look down on others. Furthermore, they are extremely greedy. I have to make them know how difficult it is to make things easier for them. Lu Ji and Su Yanshui both understood this logic. Ai Sha and Xue Xiaofan did not fully understand it. They still did not have much experience. This is the transcendent realm. I can feel that the Xian Qi of heaven and earth is incomparably dense. Barbarian Bull could not help but take a deep breath. 2 strands of Xian Qi of heaven and earth surged into his nostrils. It was quite mystical. Barbarian Tiger also excitedly said, "When we were thrown into the mortal world, we were still so young. We were unable to understand the difference between the mortal world and the higher realm. Now we can clearly feel it. After bitterly cultivating, we should be able to make progress." Barbarian Elephant said with a smile. "Don't be anxious. We still have a long way to go. Right now, we should first find a city and then leave this place. Otherwise, if the Sacred Flame sect knows that we dared to enter their territory, they will definitely not let us off." Yang Wu said, "Master, is this place very big?" Ai Sha could not help but ask Yang Wu. Yang Wu lightly nodded and said, "It is very big. Is it bigger than our Grand Xia Empire? The Great Xia Empire can't even be considered as a town here." "Wah, then how do we go to your family?" "You should learn from Little Fan. When you have nothing to do, you should read the books I gave you. Otherwise, if you know nothing about this world, people will think that you are an idiot. If anyone dares to scold me like that, I will let Master cut them. Why don't you do it yourself?" "Because if they scold me as an idiot, they are also scolding Master for teaching idiots. Isn't that so? You are scolding Master in a roundabout way." Yang Wu had already handed over the Flood Dragon warship to his grandfather and parents. Now they could only rely on flying. The silver-patterned tortoise's speed was not bad. After its body grew larger, it could carry many people at the same time. However, space was limited. When it flew, it had to carefully protect them, so it flew even slower. Therefore, Yang Wu thought of a way. He used wood to make a simple house and placed it on the silver-patterned tortoise. Then, he used restriction methods to strengthen the house, allowing the silver-patterned tortoise to fly without worry. Yang Wu's idea was good, but it was not easy to implement. His restriction power could not continuously defend the house, and he had to look after it from time to time. It was very troublesome. Just as he was vexed, Lu Ji stood up and laid down a wind avoidance formation on the simple house. This was not a particularly brilliant array, but it was very useful for the current situation. No matter how fast the silver-patterned tortoise flew, the wind would not fall on the house. The house could safely rest on the tortoise's back, allowing them to sit and rest. "Haha, this strategist is really a genius in array formations," Lu Ji said with incomparable benefit. "It's just a small trick." Yang Wu could not help but strike a blow. "If you have the ability, you can try making one. When I get more array diagrams in the future, I will definitely be able to lay down a large array that can both attack and defend. No one can do anything to me." Lu Ji was not affected at all. If only Little Hay was here. Yang Wu could not help but sigh. Little Hay was one of a kind. Not only did she have all kinds of high-level mystic arts and alchemy skills, she was also very skilled in array formations. Yang Wu felt that she must have been transformed from an old monster. The silver-patterned tortoise was ultimately only at the Heaven Fey realm. It was not fast to travel on its back. Along the way they encountered some warriors. When they saw the simple house on the back of the tortoise, they could not help but laugh. "Which family made this winged steed? It's really unique. Haha, to make such a simple wooden house to be tied to a steed, I'm dying of laughter. I've long heard of the legend of an old tortoise carrying a mountain flying. I never expected to see a big tortoise carrying a house flying. It's really an eye-opener." The silver-patterned tortoise's face turned red from the laughter of these people. He had a fiery temper as he retorted at the people who mocked him. "Who do you think you are? How dare you laugh at me?" The silver-patterned tortoise had reached the mid-level heaven Fey realm. It was already considered a peak existence in the mortal world, but in the transcendental realm, it was common to encounter heaven realm warriors. Indeed, the people in front of him released their heaven realm auras, giving the silver-patterned tortoise a fright. "Oh my, why are all of them so powerful?" The silver-patterned tortoise thought to himself. "A mere tortoise dares to roar at us Dan clansmen. Why don't we slaughter it and make a turtle medicinal soup for us to try?" Someone said with a fiendish look. Chapter 886. The Dan clan was located in the middle of the Sacred Flame sect and the Yin-Yang God sect. It was also the center of the Yin-Liang realm. The Dan clan had a prosperous population. Aside from the direct descendants, there were also countless people from the side branches and relatives through marriage. Many of them cultivated alchemy and were known as alchemists. They were second only to the hidden giant medicine sect. They were called the Eastern Medicine Sect and Southern Pill Clan. The Medicine Sect and the Dan clan were the strongest alchemy factions in the Transcendent Realm. Yang Wu's group was originally heading to the Dan clan's territory. They wanted to use the other side's city to return to the War God's realm. Who would have thought that they would encounter the Dan clan's people on the way? Yang Wu's voice came from the house. The mount was rude. "Please forgive it." There were not many people in front of the silver-patterned tortoise. There were only 8 of them. All of them were flying in the sky. Each of them had an extraordinary aura. They were not the direct descendants of the Dan clan. Only one of them was from a side branch of the Dan clan. The rest were just some distant relatives. The Dan clan's side branch member was called Dan Yuan. He was a heavenly alchemist. He looked quite old, but his personality wasn't steady at all. He was arguing with a mount. "Since you know you were rude, why don't you come out and apologize?" Dan Yuan said as he stood with his hands behind his back. He had an ordinary appearance. He had a mustache. He raised his head high and looked down at the silver-patterned turtle. His arrogant appearance was unmistakable. The 7 people around him were surrounding and protecting him. Those people looked as if they were looking at him as their leader. Everyone in the house was nervous. Only Yang Wu remained calm. "Don't cause trouble when you go out. Don't cause trouble when you go out. Didn't your families teach you this?" Yang Wu's voice rang out. He wasn't someone who bullied the good and feared the bad. On the contrary, the more evil others were, the more evil he would be. He had already given the other party face. They didn't want to bully him. There was no reason for that, right? What guts! You dare to be so rude in front of Lord Dan Yuan? I'll tear down your house first and see who you people are. Beside Dan Yuan, a warrior dressed in black shouted. He congealed a palm and shot it towards the silver-patterned turtle. His target was the house. The silver-patterned turtle was no pushover. It spat out a silver river wave from its mouth, which collided with the power of the opponent's palm. Bang! The black-clothed martial artist's power was shattered. The silver-patterned tortoise shouted with a vicious aura, "Don't be so shameless." The silver-patterned tortoise's innate talent was outstanding, and its temper was fiery. Although it had been subdued by Yang Wu, it did not mean that it was docile. Others had already attacked it, so how could it possibly cower? "It's just a turtle demon. Who gave you such courage? Wait until I slaughter you and turn you into turtle soup to nourish my kidneys. Then, I'll have the energy to go to a brothel and have some fun for a few days," the black-clothed warrior said disdainfully. He condensed his battle chi and continuously attacked the silver-patterned turtle. This was an intermediate heavenly fish realm warrior, but his methods were not weak. The silver-patterned turtle wanted to protect the house and block the opponent's attacks at the same time. Silver-patterned power flashed on its back, forming a silver light barrier that enveloped the house. Both of its fists continuously attacked with Overlord fists. Its attack power was quite impressive, and the black-clothed warrior was unable to do anything to it for a while. Other than Yang Wu, the people on the silver-patterned turtle's back were jolted quite badly. Especially those who had not reached the heaven realm, they were all suffering unspeakably. "Brother, let us go out and take care of them," Barbarian Bull volunteered. Yang Wu nodded his head. He raised his hand and cut open the silver-patterned turtle's defensive power, sending Barbarian Bull out of the house. "Grandpa Bull will take care of you guys who look down on others," Barbarian Bull roared. He waved his domineering Barbarian Bull fists and attacked Dan Yuan and the others. It had to be said that Barbarian Bull was really one-track-minded. He alone was able to challenge several people. His courage was commendable. Where did this Barbarian Bull come from? You dare to be so arrogant? Wait for me to take care of you, another warrior beside Dan Yuan shouted. This warrior had just attacked when he was sent flying by Barbarian Bull's fist. "Can't even withstand a single blow," Barbarian Bull said disdainfully and continued to rush towards Dan Yuan. Another person attacked and sent Barbarian Bull flying with a palm strike. The other person also said to Barbarian Bull, "Can't even withstand a single blow." This person was a peak Heaven Realm warrior. Moreover, his foundation was quite solid. That was why he was able to suppress Barbarian Bull in one fell swoop. Barbarian Elephant and Barbarian Tiger volunteered to fight. They did not want to see Barbarian Bull get killed by the other party. "Then let's go out and take a look," Yang Wu said helplessly and led everyone out of the house. Barbarian Elephant and Barbarian Tiger rushed out. Their monster chi soared to the sky. Their brute force was astonishing. Even the peak Heaven Realm warrior was sent flying. The silver-patterned turtle could also attack without worrying about affecting Yang Wu and the others. For a time, the sky became incomparably lively. "Beautiful military advisor, don't you want to go up and practice?" Yang Wu said to Lu Ji. Lu Ji could enter the dragon transformation realm at any time. Yang Wu hoped that Lu Ji could polish his foundation before breaking through. "Forget it, I am a cultured person." "Fighting." Lu Ji quickly clapped his hands and refused. Before he could finish his words, he was pushed out by Yang Wu. "This beauty is mine," a warrior on the other side shouted excitedly. Lu Ji was dressed in white. He was extremely beautiful like a fairy. No matter who saw him, they would be moved. "Lord, you've caused me to suffer," Lu Ji cried out in sorrow. He could only brace himself and block the other party's attack. The other party clearly didn't want to hurt him. His attack wasn't fierce. On the contrary, he even touched his face and butt. With a teasing look, he said, "Beautiful, so beautiful. How about you become my cultivation partner? I'll be your father." Lu Ji was so angry that he cursed. Yang Wu's people weren't any weaker than Dan Yuan's people. In fact, they were even stronger. However, it wouldn't be easy to determine the victor. Beside Dan Yuan was a wooden middle-aged man. He was the strongest. He asked Dan Yuan, "Grandmaster Yuan, do you need me to make a move?" This was a dragon transformation realm warrior. As long as he made a move, he could change the situation. "No need to rush. I think I saw someone familiar." Dan Yuan had a playful expression. He then shouted to Yang Wu, "Is it little sister Danzi?" What answered him was an angry and vulgar voice, "You're the little sister. Your whole family are little sisters." Danzi was a little pepper, but that didn't mean she was uneducated. Normally, she wouldn't say such unpleasant words. Now that she responded like this, it was likely that there was more to it. "Hee, isn't your family also my family? I didn't think that after not seeing you for 2 years, you'd become so beautiful. Come and let Big Brother check your body. You seem to have developed quite a bit," Dan Yuan said wretchedly. Danzi was quite angry. Her breasts were rising and falling, and her clothes were about to explode. "You know him?" Yang Wu asked from the side. Danzi replied, "We both have the surname Dan. It's just that it has nothing to do with us." "Oh, that's good," Yang Wu replied. Danzi opened her mouth, wanting Yang Wu to teach that old pervert a lesson for her. However, she swallowed the words that were about to come out of her mouth. She was a disciple. How could she ask her master to do something? Moreover, the other party was from the Dan clan. The Dan clan was much stronger than the current Yang clan, and they could call upon other major forces to help them. She didn't want Yang Wu to have a conflict with them. Just as she was about to tell her master to leave, Yang Wu's voice sounded in her ears again. "That old pervert with the 4 curled eyebrows over there, kneel and apologize to my disciple." Her master was standing up for her? Danzi looked at the handsome face that seemed to have been carved by a knife, and her eyes flashed with a trace of emotion. Fortunately, she quickly recovered and pulled on her master's sleeve, saying, "Master, let's go. Don't bother with them. The Dan clan's people are not to be trifled with. No rush. Wait until he apologizes to you," Yang Wu said calmly. If a master couldn't even protect his own disciple, could he still be called a master? Could it be that I'm deaf? How can I be someone else's master at such a young age? Dan Yuan looked coldly at Yang Wu. Then he looked at Dan Zi and said, "Little sister Dan Zi, don't you and Dan Long want to return to the clan? As long as you and I are good, I will put in a good word for you two to the clan's elders and give you a chance to come back." "Hee, I don't care," Danzi said with a cold smile. "You've become arrogant. That won't do. Wait for Big Brother to personally teach you, then you'll be obedient." Dan Yuan's eyes burned with passion as he said. Dan Yuan had a strange hobby. He was already so old, but he liked young girls who had just come of age. For example, Danzi was the type. She was delicate and had a hot body. She was his favorite. 2 years ago, he had seen Danzi. At that time, he had almost gotten his hands on her. Unfortunately, the cooked duck had flown away. Today, when he saw her again, he definitely wouldn't let her go. He gave a look to the sturdy man beside him, indicating that he could make his move. The dragon transformation realm man took a step forward. The shadow of a flood dragon floated behind him. His majestic aura enveloped the surroundings. Everyone in the battle felt suppressed. It was as if a large shark had squeezed into a school of fish. No one dared to move. The man walked step by step towards Danzi. His aura had already locked onto her. No one could save her. He liked the feeling of suppressing others with his aura. "Someone is in a hurry to reincarnate," Su Yenshui said as he stroked the Fire Cloud Tiger's head. The Fire Cloud Tiger nodded and said, "That's right. Master is invincible." "How obedient. You know how to curry favor with this commander," Su Yenshui said with satisfaction. "I was talking about Master Yang Wu, not you," the Fire Cloud Tiger hurriedly explained. "What a disobedient tiger demon. No wonder my nephew gave you to me so easily. If you look down on me like this again, I'll get angry with you. Why don't you try?" Chapter 887. Although there were quite a few dragon transformation realm cultivators in the transcendent world, they could not be found anywhere. Only first-rate forces would have a large number of dragon transformation realm cultivators. In ordinary second-rate and third-rate forces, dragon transformation realm cultivators were the pillars of strength. Dan Yuan was only a heavenly alchemist, so it was not strange for him to be able to gather heaven realm martial artists. However, having a dragon transformation realm martial artist as his protector was still quite impressive. This was also due to his Dan clan's reputation. Furthermore, he had a good relationship with a certain direct descendant of the Dan clan, which was why he was able to borrow the other party's halo to intimidate others. That dragon transformation realm cultivator called Ding Chao seemed to be walking slowly towards Dan Zi, but his speed was shockingly fast. In the blink of an eye, He arrived in front of Dan Zi and reached out a hand to grab her. Dan Yuan warned from behind, "Ding Chao, be gentle. Don't hurt my little heart." Hearing this, Dan Zi felt goosebumps all over her body. Yang Wu nimbly pulled Dan Zi behind him. He glared at Ding Chao and shouted, "Scram?" His voice was like thunder and his aura was shocking. Ding Chao looked as if he had seen a peerless true dragon. The flood dragon phantom behind him was so scared that it shrank back. That indifferent gaze from before turned into shock. Without waiting for him to scram, a foot ruthlessly kicked at his abdomen. Pooh! As if he had suffered a heavy blow, he spat out blood from his mouth as his body slammed into Dan Yuan. Dan Yuan could not react in time and was sent tumbling by Ding Chao. Yang Wu reached out and grabbed Dan Yuan with one hand, grabbing him and pulling him over. Dan Yuan realized that he had kicked a steel plate this time. "What do you want to do? I am a member of the Dan clan. If you dare to hurt me," Dan Yuan said in a panic. Before he could finish, he had already received a solid slap to the face, causing his front teeth to fly out. He was truly in a sorry state. "How do you want to punish him?" Yang Wu asked Dan Zi, who was beside him. Let's forget about it. It's better to avoid trouble." Dan Zi knew how strong the Dan clan was and was worried that it would cause trouble for Yang Wu. The death penalty can be avoided, but the punishment cannot be forgiven. Yang Wu concluded. Aisha said from behind, "Eldest senior sister, you can't be soft-hearted when dealing with your enemies. Only by beating them until they're afraid will they not dare to provoke you." Aisha was born in a poor family, so she knew some basic principles of survival. "I advise you to let me go quickly and forget about this matter. Our Dan clan is unrivaled in the immortal nightmare world. If you dare to push your luck, don't even think about," Dan Yuan said sternly once again. Before he could finish, Yang Wu slapped him a few more times, causing him to feel dizzy. "Dan Zi, you fight until you're satisfied," Yang Wu said to Dan Zi. "Are we really going to fight?" Dan Zi asked nervously. "Master will take care of everything for you. What are you afraid of?" Yang Wu said faintly, "Papa." Since Yang Wu said this, Dan Zi was no longer afraid. She slapped Dan Yuan until his face was swollen like a pig's head. Dan Zi called out straightforwardly, "You old pervert, today I'll teach you how to behave. If you dare to be arrogant again, I'll gouge your dog eyes out." Ding Chao was very loyal. He rushed forward to save Dan Yuan, but he was sent flying by Yang Wu again. This time, he was kicked to the ground by Yang Wu. Although he didn't die, his internal organs were injured. It was difficult for him to attack again, so he chose to just faint. "Grandmaster Yuan, don't blame me for not saving you. I really don't have the ability to do that." Ding Chao closed his eyes and sighed in his heart. The people fighting the silver-patterned turtle, the 3 barbarian beasts, and Lu Ji were all afraid. The silver-patterned turtle's battle talent was extraordinary. When he fought with his life on the line, even a high-level Heaven Realm cultivator would find it difficult to be his match. His opponent's arm was broken, and he was scared out of his wits. He wanted to escape, but the silver-patterned fist smashed his heart and killed him. After the 3 barbarian beasts reached the transcendent realm, some kind of restrictive power that was suppressing them was broken. The terrifying brute force they displayed caused their opponents to bleed all over. All of them were scared out of their wits and fled. The person fighting Lu Ji only wanted to take advantage of Lu Ji. Lu Ji wasn't good at attacking, but his strength had reached the peak of the heavenly fish realm. He was only one step away from the dragon transformation realm. After being provoked by his opponent again and again, he exploded with all his strength. He used an array formation to bind his opponent's limbs. Finally, he twisted his opponent into a ball of fried dough twist and sent him flying with a kick. Yang Wu's side was completely victorious. You let me go. I admit defeat." Dan Yuan was afraid. Ding Chao wasn't his opponent, and he didn't have any trump cards. If he didn't admit defeat, he would be beaten to death. Old pervert, if you dare to have any ideas about this young lady in the future, I'll cripple your third leg. Dan Z was addicted to beating him. She knocked Dan Yuan's head several times and said sternly. The anger that had been suppressed in her heart was finally released. Yes, yes, I won't dare to have any improper thoughts. Dan Yuan nodded. In his heart, he hated Dan Z and Yang Wu to death. If he had the chance to take revenge, he would definitely return it 10 times over. Master, I've hit him enough. Dan Z obediently said to Yang Wu. Yang Wu nodded. Then, his gaze fell on the universe ring on Dan Yuan's finger. He raised his hand and peeled off the universe ring, saying, You destroyed our house. This universe ring is compensation. Dan Yuan wanted to die. That ring contained more than half of his life's savings. It was taken away just like that. He was incomparably heartbroken. He didn't dare say the word no. Relatively speaking, his little life was more important. After Dan Yuan was released, he dejectedly left. He roared in his heart, If I don't get revenge for this, I'm not human. This small episode didn't affect the mood of Yang Wu and the others. Only Dan Z, after feeling refreshed, revealed a trace of worry. Yang Wu asked Dan Z, Tell me about the Dan clan situation. Yang Wu had also read some records of the Dan clan from books. He also knew that the Dan clan wasn't to be trifled with. However, he wanted to know more details from Dan Z. Dan Z muttered to herself for a moment and said, Eastern Medicine Sect, Southern Dan clan. These two basically represent the strongest forces of alchemists. They aren't listed as a giant force, but their true foundation isn't inferior to these giant forces. They can even make these giant forces sell their lives for them. And our place is already within the Dan clan's territory. That old pervert just now is just a heavenly alchemist of the Dan clan. He isn't considered an important figure. However, he has a younger sister who married a direct descendant elder of the Dan clan. That's why he's so domineering. My grandfather and I are actually both members of the Dan clan. Back then, my grandfather was saved by the Yang clan when he was in danger and promised to refine pills for the Yang clan for 100 years. At that time, my grandfather's talent in alchemy wasn't bad, and he had quite a bit of prestige in the side branches. After the Dan clan found out about my grandfather's decision, they felt that my grandfather had disgraced the Dan clan, so they removed our family from the clan. From then on, we could no longer call ourselves members of the Dan clan. After Yang Wu finished listening to Dan Z's words, he roughly understood the Dan clan's situation. He also understood Dan Z and Dan Long's origins. His mood became much heavier. In the sealed nightmare realm, he had already offended the Sacred Flame sect. In addition to the Dan clan, it would be difficult for them to gain a foothold in this place. However, he didn't regret it. Some things were already done. After all, they weren't the ones who provoked others. Yang Wu's group no longer chose to fly at high altitude. They let the silver-patterned turtle carry Dan Z, Ai Sha, and Xue Xiaofan on their journey while they flew behind. The 3 barbarian beasts no longer relied on their identities. They were willing to transform into their true forms and carry Yang Wu's group on their journey. Yang Wu refused. After several days of hurrying, they arrived at a small town. They inquired about the nearby cities in the town and finally found out that the nearest city was Confusion City. This was an ancient city. Even though it couldn't be compared to those famous cities in the world, its history was incomparably long. It had gone through many great disasters and had never sunk or disappeared. However, it had never truly been glorious. Humans weren't the only ones living in this city. There were also many foreign races. Everyone coexisted with each other and there weren't too many conflict. All of these reasons were attributed to the word, alchemy. In Confusion City, regardless of whether it was humans or foreign races, they all liked to concoct pills. Even if their alchemy skills weren't very good, it didn't hinder their pursuit of alchemy. It was rumored that there was an earth flame vein under the ground of Confusion City. That earth flame vein had already condensed an extraordinary fire spirit. Whoever could refine a good pill could attract the fire spirit to recognize him as its master, and obtain a wisp of fire spirit seed to strengthen his natal fire seed. This legend was only for young people. Those old alchemists or high-level alchemists were unable to attract the fire spirit seed. Every year, Confusion City would hold an alchemy competition. No matter which race or background one was from, one could participate. If anyone could attract the fire spirit to recognize him as its master, they could become an honored guest of Confusion City and obtain the Dan Clan's VIP token. This VIP token had great significance. It allowed one to pass through the Dan Clan's territory unimpeded. Furthermore, one could obtain a 50% discount when purchasing medicinal herbs and pills in the Dan Clan's territory. One could even enter the Dan Clan's important territory with the token and become a guest elder of the Dan Clan. The alchemy competition had been held for many years, and the number of alchemists who had obtained the VIP token could be counted on one hand. All of them had become alchemists whose names could shake a region. These were all things that Dan Zi had told Yang Wu. Because the new alchemy competition was about to be held again, she wanted to try her luck. "Let's pass through and leave quickly. We can't cause any more trouble," Yang Wu said firmly. He wasn't traveling alone, and he was bringing a burden with him. He didn't want to cause any more trouble. "Master, listen to me first. If you obtain the verified alchemist badge in Confusion City, you will be recognized in the transcendent realm. You won't have to worry about others finding trouble with you in the Dan Clan. Furthermore, you will obtain the protection of the Alchemist Alliance. It will be much easier for you to return to the War Race realm." The Alchemist Alliance? Is it the alliance formed by the Medicine Sect, the Dan Clan, and the various large alchemist sects and realms? Yes. There is an assessment site in Confusion City. With Master's identity as a Saint Alchemist, as long as you pass the assessment, there will be many benefits. It looks like you really want to participate in the alchemy competition. Chapter 888. Bewilderment City. The reason why it had such a name was because there was a layer of fog in the morning and at night. Ordinary people could only see things within 100 meters. Beyond that, they could not see clearly. Powerful martial artists could see a little further, but it was difficult for them to see 1,000 miles as they usually did. Rumor had it that this fog was caused by the fire energy rising from the earth fire vein. There were also rumors that this was caused by a bewilderment array set up by an ancient almighty. No one purposely tried to uncover the mystery of this place. Even the Almighty who knew about this city did not deliberately change the situation here. After all, this place was quite suitable for ordinary martial artists to live in. Different alien races lived in this city. There were the Fire Monkey race, the Beastman race, the Phantom race. More than 10 different alien races lived together in this city. They lived in harmony with each other and didn't have conflicts easily. Their lives were relatively peaceful. Recently, the annual alchemy competition was about to begin. The Dan Clan's side branch would host this event, and the Apothecary Alliance's alchemists would act as judges to determine the Rookie Medicine King of the Year. Every alchemist under the age of 30 was qualified to participate in this alchemy competition. The prerequisite was that they were at the Medicine King level. Alchemists above the Heavenly Alchemist level naturally could not participate in such a grand event. In Bewilderment City, other than the Dan Clan, there were a few other alchemy clans, such as the Bag Clan, the Xia Clan, the Rejuvenation Medicine Hall, and the foreign clans that knew how to refine pills. Not to mention the alchemy geniuses that kept surging in from outside. "Master, this time I will definitely attract the fire spirit to choose a master. The title of Rookie Medicine King of the Year is mine. It has been a few hundred years since the last time the fire spirit chose a master. This is my only chance. I must do it." Rumor has it that after obtaining the title of Rookie Medicine King of the Year, you will also be recognized by the Apothecary Alliance. They will give you a badge. Along the way, many young men spoke with high fighting spirit. They were all heading towards the alchemy field in the center of the city. That alchemy field was built by the Dan clan. It occupied a large area, and there were a total of 18 alchemy cauldrons. Each of them was a heavenly alchemy cauldron with extraordinary value. This place was like an arena with a large number of seats stacked in rows. It could accommodate at least 10,000 people. It was very easy to participate in the alchemy competition. One only needed to purchase a token. Each token was worth 3,000 mid-grade Xian spirit stones. This price was sky-high for many king-level martial artists, but for king-level alchemists it was still possible. The nearby streets were all the territory of the Dan clan. There were many herbs, spirit pills, and medicinal cauldrons for sale. Those who came to participate in the competition had to fork out a large sum of money to spend here. Every year, the Dan clan would make a lot of money through the alchemy competition. Although many people knew that the Dan clan held this alchemy competition just to make money, they had no choice but to participate. After all, the Fire Spirit Choosing a Master event had happened before. Even if the Fire Spirit Choosing a Master didn't happen, the title of Rookie Medicine King of the Year would still make those young medicine kings scramble for it. In the bustling street, Yang Wu appeared with Dan Zi, Lu Ji, Su Yinshui, and the others. Regardless of whether it was to return to the War Clan realm or to participate in the alchemy competition, they had to hurry to Confusion City. After arriving here, they had no choice but to stroll around the famous Pill Street. Pill Street was filled with pill stores. In front of each store, there was a dazzling array of pills and herbs. Each store's waiter's voice rang out incessantly. Aisha's heart was stirred up. She looked around happily. Her beautiful eyes were burning with passion. She couldn't wait to buy all these medicinal pills and herbs. Xue Xiaofan felt a bit inferior. He walked with his head lowered and was extremely careful. He was afraid of bumping into others and being looked at by the store's waiter. Su Yinshui stared at the high-grade pills and sighed from time to time. If I had a heavenly medicine, I would be able to break through to the heavenly fish realm. The Fire Cloud Tiger drooled and said, "It would be even better if you could give me a beast core. A spirit beast like you should just eat beast cores. Why would you want a beast core?" Su Yinshui said as he tapped the Fire Cloud Tiger's head with his pipe. "What do you know? After refining a beast core, the medicinal properties will be much gentler and easier to absorb. It's a pity that Lord Immortal Emperor isn't here. If he was, I would have already broken through to the Sky Demon realm." The Fire Cloud Tiger replied in a bad mood. "Which Lord Immortal Emperor is so powerful that you admire him so much?" I'm not going to tell you." Master's alchemy skills were passed down to him by Lord Immortal Emperor. Lu Ji wasn't very interested in pills. He asked Yang Wu, "Is there an array street? The smell of these herbs is so pungent." Lu Ji wore a hat on his head and had gauze covering his face. He was afraid that he would cause trouble for everyone in a crowded place. His innate charm could kill both men and women. Even Yang Wu was jealous of him. "There isn't one here, but it shouldn't be hard to gather some array diagrams for you," Yang Wu replied. Then he looked at Dan Zi, who had been staring at the herbs, and said, "Since you want to participate in the alchemy competition, then choose some herbs. I will teach you well these few days. What kind of ranking you can obtain will depend on your own talent." Thank you, Master." Dan Zi smiled proudly. Dan Zi didn't hold back and wantonly bought herbs on this street. It wasn't just her. There were many youths who were rushing to buy as well. There were also some strange races. These guys were afraid that if they were a bit slower, they wouldn't be able to buy the herbs they needed. On the way, Yang Wu asked Dan Zi what kind of pill she wanted to refine. Dan Zi said she wanted to refine the Earth King pill. The Earth King pill was of high quality and had many uses. It could raise the Earth-Sea realm and was easy to get a high evaluation. Yang Wu didn't express his opinion. In his opinion, Dan Zi's choice wasn't the best among the king-level pills, but it might be the best choice for her. Dan Zi bought 10 sets of herbs in one go. She didn't need Yang Wu to pay for them. As a king-level alchemist, she still had some savings. After buying the ingredients, she needed to match them with a few king-level demon cores. In addition, she also needed to find some supplementary spirit springs to increase the effectiveness of the pill. When they came to a shop selling spirit springs, it was crowded with alchemists and their followers. Everyone was rushing to buy spirit springs. The scene was abnormally lively. Everyone, don't push. Our spirit springs are limited to 3 bottles per person. Any more and we won't allow it. The shopkeeper shouted loudly. He then said, "Old rules, the highest bidder wins. Give me 3 bottles of top-grade spirit springs. I'll pay 1,000 mid-grade Xian spirit stones. I'm willing to pay 1,200 mid-grade Xian spirit stones. I want that ice snow spring. Sell me 5 bottles. How can 3 bottles be enough? If the alchemy fails, it'll be over. Sell us a few more." This was the only shop selling spirit springs, and it was the Dan clan's exclusive shop. Every bottle of spirit spring was much more expensive than before. After Yang Wu and his group arrived outside, they were all tongue-tied when they saw such a scene. What should we do? Dan Zi looked at Yang Wu in distress. She needed to refine the Earth King pill. Adding top-grade spirit springs could increase the grade of the pill. Yang Wu wanted to tell her that he also had top-grade spirit springs, but he didn't do so. He smiled and said, "This is your alchemy competition. You have to fight for it yourself. As your master, I will only teach you how to refine pills. I won't help you with these small matters." Compared to his master, Yang Wu was much easier to talk to his disciple. If he had to do something like this, he would become dependent on him in the future. This wasn't good for Dan Zi. However, Yang Wu still thought for Dan Zi. He let Xue Xiaofan squeeze into the crowd to bid so that Dan Zi wouldn't be taken advantage of. Xue Xiaofan had low self-esteem to begin with. Letting him compete with others in this kind of public place to buy spirit springs was definitely a difficult task. Yang Wu wanted to train Xue Xiaofan. How could a man be so weak? Just treat them as blacksmithing opponents, Yang Wu said to Xue Xiaofan. Xue Xiaofan thought about it and finally mustered up his courage to bid for the spirit springs. At first, his voice was very soft, but after being pushed by others until he almost fell, he angrily shouted, "I'll pay 3,000 high-grade Xian spirit stones to buy the top-grade spirit springs." In an instant, the entire place quieted down. All eyes were on Xue Xiaofan. Xue Xiaofan's courage instantly shrank. He lowered his head, not daring to meet these people's eyes. A voice rang in his ear. "If you're so cowardly, be careful that AI Sha won't look down on you." Xue Xiaofan raised his head again and looked at the people present. The shopkeeper's face was full of smiles as he said, "Little brother is so generous. These 3 bottles of top-quality Earth Spirit spring water are yours." This time, Xue Xiaofan turned to look at Dan Zi. He didn't have the money, so Dan Zi had to pay for it. Dan Zi really wanted to turn and leave. She had 3,000 mid-grade Xian spirit stones, but where was she going to find 3,000 high-grade Xian spirit stones? She cursed in her heart. This idiot! At this moment, Yang Wu walked over and said, "Sorry to trouble you, shopkeeper. The 3,000 high-grade Xian spirit stones are with me." With that, he handed the 3,000 high-grade Xian spirit stones over to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper was overjoyed. He quickly put away the 3,000 high-grade Xian spirit stones and handed the top-grade spirit springs to Yang Wu. After Yang Wu received the top-grade spirit springs, he called out to the people around him and left. They hadn't gone far when the people here completely exploded. Where did this nouveau riche young master come from? He paid 100 times the price for 3 bottles of top-grade spirit springs. He's really amazing. I think he's an idiot. Normally, 300 mid-grade Xian spirit stones would be enough to buy it. Even if it's 10 times more expensive now, it's still worth it. But this fool suddenly paid such a high price. There must be something wrong with his brain. Forget it. How he spends his money is his business. Alchemy isn't something that can be done with money. Chapter 889. Immortal Lion. Shui Xiaofan, you really are an idiot, a big idiot. Danzi loudly scolded Shui Xiaofan. Her voice was so loud that the inn was about to collapse. Shui Xiaofan's ears drooped, and he did not dare to respond. He looked like he was about to cry, and anyone who saw him would feel sad. But now, no one would feel pity for him. He had indeed done an idiotic thing. 100 mid-grade Xian spirit stones per bottle is already enough. 3 bottles for 1,000 mid-grade Xian spirit stones is already a sky-high price, yet you're so generous as to buy it for me at 1,000 times the price. What are you thinking? Could it be that you think you can bid as you wish just because the Xian spirit stones are not your own? Please, can you be a little smarter? Otherwise, how will you establish yourself in the transcendent world in the future? Dan Zi continued to nag, and Shui Xiaofan could not take it anymore. He was a man, and his pride was especially strong. Tears flowed from his eyes as he glared at Dan Zi, looking extremely ferocious. He gritted his teeth and said, "Are you done scolding me? In the future, I will return it to you tenfold." His current appearance was the same as when he was surrounded by the pack of wolves in the Wolf Smoke mountain range. That was how he had scared off the pack of wolves and saved his life. This was an unknown negative energy contained in his body. Once it exploded, it would become extremely terrifying. Dan Zi was much stronger than Shui Xiaofan, but she was still shocked by his appearance. She took half a step back and said, "Why are you so fierce? You did something wrong in the first place. Can't you tolerate others saying a few words?" This time, without waiting for Shui Xiaofan to speak, Yang Wu came to his side and patted his shoulder, saying, "A man shouldn't bicker with a woman over such things. Shizhuan is rich. If you spend that bit of Xian spirit stones, then spend it. In the future, when you become a great tool refiner, won't it be easy to earn Xian spirit stones?" Master, Shui Xiaofan's vicious aura receded, and he looked at Yang Wu with an aggrieved expression. Yang Wu rubbed his head, then looked at Dan Zi and said, "You are the eldest senior sister and will be an outstanding alchemist in the future. Don't you think it's right to scold your junior brother like this for a bit of Xian spirit stones?" "But master," Dan Zi wanted to refute, but Yang Wu did not give her the chance to do so as he continued, "They have just arrived in the transcendent world, and are not used to everything here yet. Give them some time, and they will be able to stand on their own in no time. As the eldest senior sister, you must be more lenient. Losing a few Xian spirit stones this time is nothing, but remember not to lose people in the future. As your master, I still do not know how to teach you how to conduct yourselves. I only hope that you can do more and think more. Only then will you be able to live well." Yang Wu realized that it was not easy to be someone's master. Sometimes, he wanted to be strict with them like his master, but he was unable to do so at the moment. Dan Zi lowered her head in shame, then looked up at Shui Xiaofan and said, "Sorry junior brother, senior sister was rude." Shui Xiaofan froze, then responded, "It's not senior sister's fault, it's me. I was too nervous. I originally wanted to shout 3,000 mid-grade Xian spirit stones, but I promise it won't happen again." Yang Wu saw that his 2 disciples had let bygones be bygones, and his mood improved a lot. Spending a bit more money to make them understand some things was worth it. Next, Yang Wu called Dan Zi to a pill refining room. This was a pill refining room rented from an inn, and it cost 1,000 mid-grade Xian spirit stones a day. This was only a king-level pill refining room. If it was a heaven-level or minor saint-level pill refiner, the price would be many times higher than this pill refining room. Since you chose to participate in the pill refining competition, then do your best to refine the best pill. Don't lose your master's face. Yang Wu looked at Danzi and said. Danzi bowed and said, I will do my best. When she bowed, the heavy part of her chest revealed a touch of snow white, forcing Yang Wu to shift his eyes away. He felt hot blood flowing through his nostrils. This girl was too overbearing. Yang Wu first let Danzi refine a cauldron of pills based on her own knowledge, and watched her carefully the entire time. After she finished, he began to teach her by example, teaching her how to improve her pill refining skills and sharing some of his insights on pill refining. Danzi listened attentively and benefited greatly. Actually, when they were hurrying through the mortal world, she had heard Yang Wu talk about a lot of pill refining techniques, but it wasn't as detailed as this time. However, these techniques couldn't improve Danzi's pill refining ability in a short period of time, so Yang Wu also gave her a soul-nurturing pill. The soul-nurturing pill could help Danzi's soul force reach a higher level. Only by increasing her soul force could she better focus on pill refining, accurately controlling the essence of the herbs, and improve the quality of the pills. Yang Wu spent a day and said everything that needed to be said. Whether or not Danzi could comprehend it all depended on herself. After Yang Wu left, Danzi went into seclusion for 3 days before coming out of the pill refining room. Danzi immediately went to see Yang Wu. When Yang Wu saw her, she actually pounced at him, scaring him into quickly dodging. What are you doing? Shizhuan, you're not cute at all. Danzi pounced at empty air, and cast a charming yet bitter look at Yang Wu. Are you crazy? I am your Shizhuan. Yang Wu said sternly. I'm not crazy. I like your Shizhuan. Danzi blinked her big round eyes, revealing her true feelings. She had been holding these words in her heart for a long time. After Yang Wu taught her pill refining techniques, she became more and more infatuated with him. She felt that under his youthful appearance, there was a mature and steady heart, and he was her ideal cultivation partner. Yang Wu patted his forehead and said, if such rebellious words were to spread, your reputation would be ruined. You can't say such things again in the future. A relationship between a master and a disciple had always been a taboo. Of course, if one didn't care about how the world looked at them, it wasn't impossible, but the prerequisite was that they had the ability to bear the blame. Hey, I don't care. Now that I've said it, I feel much better. I was afraid that if I couldn't say it again, I would continue to think of you when refining pills. In any case, whether you like me or not, I'll still like you. Danzi patted her bulging chest and smiled. At this moment, she could be considered to have completely relaxed. She was even more confident about the pill refining competition. Yang Wu glared at her and said, You're already an adult, so you can't be willful. Prepare to obtain the qualifications to participate. Yes, my dear Shizhuan. Danzi replied and happily left the room. Actually, she could feel that Yang Wu didn't have any feelings for her. They only had a master and disciple relationship, but she didn't mind. She and he had a master and disciple relationship, so wouldn't the future be long? Yang Wu couldn't help but smile bitterly. He suddenly felt that taking Danzi as a disciple wasn't a worthwhile thing. The pill refining competition was about to begin. The local forces, clans, and foreign alchemists all entered one after another. This time, if there weren't 10,000, there were at least 8,000. There were a lot of people, and every one of them was relatively young. After they bought the competition token, they went to the pill refining field to pass the test. There were 3 tests in total. The first test was to determine the Medicine King. The second test was to determine the Medicine King. After passing the second test, they could enter the final test. Accompanied by the silver-patterned turtle, Danzi arrived at the pill refining field. She lined up with the young alchemists here, waiting for the test to begin. There were many people in the first test. The Pill clan sent out several little saint alchemists to oversee the competition, as well as dozens of heavenly alchemists as judges. They only needed to refine a king pill in front of them. Every time there were 1,000 people in the test. They had to use their cauldrons and herbs, and the time limit was 2 hours. In the field, there were several little saint alchemists and dozens of heavenly alchemists supervising the competition. There was also the void condensing mirror. Whoever dared to cheat would be stripped of their right to participate in the competition. Moreover, they wouldn't be able to participate in the competition for 5 years. The Alchemist Union would also be recorded, and they wouldn't be able to apply for an alchemist badge. Danzi was in the 3rd batch to enter. She had already been a medicine king for 2 years, so it wasn't difficult for her to refine a king pill. She chose to refine the simplest meridian warming pill, in order to pass the exam in the most stable and low-key way. Damn it, how could I make such a low-level mistake? I really can't accept this. I was so close to condensing the pill. Heaven, why are you so unfair? I'm missing a herb. What should I do? Who can be kind enough to lend me one? Haha, it's just a king pill. It's a piece of cake. I'm done refining it. Of those who entered the assessment, many failed. Some of them held on to the hope of being lucky, some were too nervous, and some were too confident. In short, they failed in the preliminary assessment. There were also some who passed smoothly without any difficulty at all. After a day, 1/3 of the people had been eliminated. Danzi returned to ask for credit from Yang Wu. Who would have thought that Yang Wu had brought Lu Ji out and still hadn't returned? In the downtown area, Yang Wu and Lu Ji walked side by side. Lu Ji had already taken off his hat. He was dressed in a white robe. His figure was tall and straight, and his face was less sickly pale. He had a bit more of a martial artist's spirit. Whether it was men or women, they couldn't help but take a few more glances at him. It turned out that Yang Wu, who was also handsome and had an outstanding temperament, had his limelight stolen by Lu Ji. Of course, there were also people who thought that Yang Wu and Lu Ji were a couple. They looked at them strangely. If I go out shopping with you alone in the future, I'll change my surname to yours, Yang Wu said helplessly. Although the distance between him and Lu Ji was quite far, he couldn't stop others from imagining things. My lord, I didn't mean to steal your limelight. Why don't I dress a little uglier next time? I'm all so troubled. Lu Ji fanned himself with a white paper fan, looking like he was handsome and flirtatious. It was really annoying to look at him. Yes, how about I walk a bit faster now and give those men a chance? My lord, that's not right. I'm not interested in men. Then hurry up and study the array formation scrolls I gave you today. I'll wait for you to become the most outstanding array formation master. That's inevitable. Chapter 890. The alchemy competition was in full swing. A large number of young alchemists had gathered and displayed their different styles. Dan Li of the Dan clan, Yao Yanchen of the medicine sect, Ba Yufei, Xia Laihong, and other rising stars of the human clan were the representatives. Ho Ji of the fire monkey clan, Wu Puan of the fire crow clan, and Ezawu of the beastman clan were the representatives. They were all popular candidates for the title. Danli was only 19 years old, and was a direct descendant of the Dan clan. He had already won the title 2 years ago. His alchemy skills were very good. After 2 years, his strength had reached the advanced Earthsea realm, and he could refine top-grade Dan kings. There were even rumors that he had the ability to refine Heaven Dan, but he deliberately chose not to because he wanted to participate in this year's alchemy competition. He was one of the top 3 young alchemists in the Dan clan's younger generation. In the past 10 years, half of the alchemy competition had been won by the Dan clan. They were the hosts. Danli was determined to win this title. Yao Yanchen of the medicine sect was also extraordinary. The medicine sect had always disdained to participate in the alchemy competition of the Dan clan. However, they would occasionally send people to participate in this alchemy competition, mainly for the fire spirit choosing master. Yao Yanchen had already refined his own natal true fire, but its quality was not very high. He hoped to obtain the earth flame seed to improve the power of his natal true fire. Ba Yufei and Xia Liehong were both geniuses cultivated by the alchemy families of the Bewilderment City. They were in their 20s and had been medicine kings for several years. They had accumulated a lot of alchemy skills and were confident to compete for the title. There were also talented alchemists among the Beastman clan. Ho Ji was the most outstanding alchemist among the younger generation of the Fire Monkey clan. He was born with a demonic fire, which was like adding wings to a tiger for alchemists. He was very skilled in controlling fire and could refine King Dan of excellent quality. He had already claimed that the title of Alchemy Competition of the Year would belong to him. Wu Puan of the Fire Crow clan was an extremely low-key fire crow. No one had heard of his name before. However, not long ago, he suddenly refined a third tribulation Dan, which shocked everyone. It was possible for a king pill to attract a pill tribulation. If there was no pill tribulation, the quality of the pill would be the most ordinary. If there was a first tribulation pill, the quality of the pill would be greatly improved. A third tribulation pill could be called a flawless pill. At this level, the quality of the pill could be considered perfect. Wu Puan's alchemy skills were excellent. Ezewu was an alchemist of the Beastman race. He was a young but mature Beastman. His alchemy skills had always been lukewarm, but no one could deny that the quality of the pills he refined was always high. The business of his pharmacy had always been good. These were all the seeded contestants of this year's alchemy competition. As for some low-key dark horses, they had yet to reveal themselves. After all, every year, there would be a few dazzling dark horses that suddenly appeared. Even if they couldn't become the new medicine king of the year, it was still common for them to enter the top 3. After the low-key first round of the assessment, the second round began to become more intense. All the alchemy geniuses would try their best to concoct at least a second tribulation pill king so that they could enter the final round. This requirement was very high. If they couldn't even refine a second tribulation Dan, how could they be worthy of the title of Pill King? Dan Z performed very steadily, successfully refining a second tribulation healing Pill King. After she passed the competition, the Heavenly Alchemy Competition smiled at her and said, "Little girl, you're not bad. Uncle thinks highly of you." The Heavenly Alchemy Competition's eyes were fixed on Dan Z's fierce appearance, and he was almost drooling. Dan Z did not even look at him. She felt extremely disgusted and quickly left. The Heavenly Alchemy Competition wiped his saliva and said, "Among all the alchemy competition, this little girl is the sexiest. I need to give her a hint later or else she won't know what's going on. I say, old brother, your eyes are about to pop out. If you dare to have any thoughts about her, the Alliance will definitely punish you. Be a good judge." Another Heavenly Alchemy Competition said, Hey, I just think that girl isn't bad. If there's a chance, I'll take her as my disciple." The Heavenly Alchemy Competition said with a wretched smile. Who could not tell that this guy was rebelling after seeing a girl? However, no one tried to persuade this guy anymore. Everyone knew that this guy was a guest elder of the Dan clan and had joined the Alchemy Alliance. His name was Tsing Xuaneng, and he had a strong backing. This guy used the name of a judge to defile, who knew how many female alchemy competition. Furthermore, this guy was not picky about food. No matter if they were beautiful or not, he could eat them. Furthermore, he often said, when the candlelight is extinguished at night, any woman is equally beautiful. After another 2 days, the results of the first and second rounds of the competition came out. Out of the 10,000 Pill Kings, less than 100 people successfully refined a second Tribulation Dan King. These 100 people had the qualifications to compete for the final 10 Great Pill Kings of the year. There were a total of 10 spots, and they would all receive generous rewards. The person who won in the end would be called Pill King of the Year. The difference between the two names represented a completely different meaning. The third round of the competition would be held 3 days later. This was to give those young pill kings ample time to adjust their states and find better pill refinement materials. The pill street could be said to be overcrowded with people. All the medicinal herbs in the various medicine shops had been snatched clean. Those shop owners were all grinning from ear to ear. The people of the Dan clan laughed even more happily behind the scenes. Most of these medicine shops belonged to their clan, so they were the ones who earned the most. The annual alchemy competition was very meaningful. Danzi entered the final round and was in a very good mood. She wanted to have a good chat with Yang Wu about the competition, but who knew that Yang Wu would go out early in the morning? Danzi found Aisha and asked, "Aisha, do you know where Master went?" Aisha shook her head, indicating that she did not know. She then said to Danzi, "Eldest senior sister, you're really amazing. You entered the final round and will definitely take first place. Let us share in the joy. Of course, when the time comes, you all can come and watch me win the competition," Danzi said confidently. Afterwards, she went to ask Shui Xiaofan, who was meditating. He also did not know where Yang Wu went. In the end, it was Lu Ji who told her that Yang Wu went to the Alchemist Alliance. "This master is really something. Why didn't he tell me that he was going to the Alchemist Alliance to take the badge test? I could have brought him there." Danzi pouted her sexy lips and said unhappily. Ever since Yang Wu confessed, she no longer hid her closeness to Yang Wu. She wanted nothing more than to stick to him. "He was afraid that you would be distracted," Lu Ji replied. He paused for a moment and then took out something and handed it to Danzi. "This is what your master left for you. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to make it in time to watch the competition, so he told me to give it to you." "What is it? There are still 3 days, how could he not make it in time? Could it be that Master wants to directly take the exam for the Saint Alchemist badge?" Danzi asked suspiciously after receiving the item. "That's right, he wants to pass the exam in one go. He's afraid that he won't be in the mood to do this next time," Lu Ji replied. Danzi looked at the item that Yang Wu told Lu Ji to pass to her. Her eyes flashed with fondness as she said, This is spirit congealing liquid." "What is spirit congealing liquid?" Lu Ji asked in confusion. This is a top-quality spirit congealing liquid that can increase the quality of the core. So Master was thinking for me." Danzi responded with satisfaction and then skipped back to her room. She was in a very good mood. In the inn, the 3 barbarian demons were gathered in a closed-door cultivation room. This was the closed-door cultivation room that they rented together. It cost 200 mid-grade Xian spirit stones every day. It was not cheap. "Big brother, do you feel that our bloodline power is awakening? Our strength is quickly increasing?" Barbarian Bull asked Barbarian Elephant. Barbarian Tiger agreed, "I also have the same feeling. I'm preparing to break through to the peak heaven realm. My bloodline talent is awakening." Barbarian Elephant smiled and said, "That's right. The sacred mountain has suppressed us for 1,000 years. In these 1,000 years, our cultivation has been extremely slow. In fact, it's suppressing our potential. Once we leave the sacred mountain's range, the suppressed power in our body will erupt like a flood. Our cultivation will rapidly increase, and it will be easy for us to become a demonic saint in the future. We won't leave behind any hidden dangers, right?" Barbarian Tiger asked worriedly. Barbarian Elephant said, "I'm not sure, but there shouldn't be any hidden dangers." After pausing for a moment, he said, "The Sacred Flame sect wants to bring us back to prove that what they did back then was not wrong. So we must keep a low profile. Even if we break through, we can't show off too much. Only after we become demonic saints can we let loose. Otherwise, we will bring trouble to Brother Yang Wu, and we will inevitably be taken back to the Sacred Flame sect. Brother Yang Wu treats us with sincerity. In the future, the 3 of us brothers and sisters will work for him. Brother Yang Wu's potential is even greater than ours. My intuition tells me that if we follow him, our future will be brighter. Apothecary Alliance. This was an organization formed by all the major apothecary factions. It wasn't unique to any one faction. The main goal of this organization was to recruit all apothecaries at the king level and above as members. They worked together to develop the apothecary profession and raise the overall strength of apothecaries. This organization was spread throughout the transcendent realm. Apothecaries were proud to join this organization. Those who could obtain their recognition were all brilliant apothecaries. They weren't something a rogue apothecary could compare to. There was an Apothecary Alliance examination site in Bewilderment City. It was located in an extremely quiet manor in the northern part of the city. The manor wasn't small. There were auspicious stone beasts guarding the entrance and 2 large cauldrons on the left and right. Yang Wu had already figured out the location of the Apothecary Alliance in the past 2 days in Bewilderment City. He came here alone to try and obtain a badge of the Apothecary Alliance. This would make it easier for him to do things in the future. I wonder if this small place can test the abilities of a saint apothecary. Chapter 891. Little brother, this is not a place you can enter. Please stop, the guard at the door said politely to Yang Wu when he saw Yang Wu. Yang Wu cupped his hands and said, I'm here to verify my alchemist rank. The guard looked at Yang Wu with confusion and said, Are you sure you're not an alchemist participating in the alchemy competition? Yang Wu paused for a moment before replying, No, my disciple is participating in the alchemy competition. The guard immediately laughed. Young man, don't mess around. This is not a place where you can cause trouble. Hurry up and leave. The guard's temperament was good and his words were gentle. He didn't seem to be overbearing at all. He had been guarding the door for many years and had seen all kinds of alchemists, so he was very cautious. He didn't judge a book by its cover. The young man in front of him was very outstanding. If he didn't come from a large family, then he came from a large sect. He didn't dare to offend him. Yang Wu said seriously, I'm really here to take the alchemist rank test. Please announce my arrival. Young man, do you know the rules of the Alchemist Union? What rules? Do you want a red packet? Don't talk nonsense. Our rules state that you need to have an invitation letter from the Union or a recommendation from 2 alchemists in the Union. Only then are you qualified to take the test. There's a rule like that? Then forget it. Yang Wu didn't expect the other party to have such a rule. Danzi hadn't told him about this before. Perhaps she didn't know about this rule either. Just as Yang Wu was about to leave, a voice sounded out, Young man, it's not that hard to enter the Alchemist Union. Yang Wu looked back and saw a slovenly little old man appear behind him. The old man was holding a wine jug in his hand. His nose was red and the smell of alcohol permeated the air. It was obvious that he had drunk a lot of wine. Yang Wu was actually unable to see through the little old man's cultivation level. The other party was either an ordinary person or someone stronger than him. He felt that the former was more likely. The little old man looked too ordinary, and he was wearing extremely cheap clothes. He didn't seem to have the demeanor of a big shot. When the guard saw the little old man, his eyes twitched. Just as he was about to kneel down, he was stopped by the little old man's gaze. Yang Wu did not notice this abnormality. He asked the other party, Is there any other way? There are 3 main requirements for an alchemist. The first is identifying herbs, the second is controlling fire, and the third is condensing the core. As long as you pass these 3 tests and prove that you are an alchemist, you will be able to participate in the Apothecary Alliance's examination. The little old man slowly walked over and said, Seeing that he was so drunk that he was about to collapse, she really suspected that he was talking drunkenly. Yang Wu couldn't help but step forward to help him up and asked, Then how can I participate in these 3 trials? It's simple. As long as you give me a jug of good wine, I will take you in for the trials. the little old man said with a smile. Yang Wu froze for a moment, as if he thought that the little old man was trying to trick him. However, he still took out a jug of medicinal wine that he had brewed and gave it to the little old man. This is the 8 drunken immortals that I brewed myself. It's quite strong, and it's enough for you and your family to drink it every time. You have to drink it at home so that you don't pass out drunk outside. That would be a sin. The 8 drunken immortals was a type of medicinal wine that could strengthen one's body and soul. The effects of the wine differed depending on the grade. The jug of wine that Yang Wu gave the little old man had extraordinary effects on Heaven Realm martial artists. The wine was also very fragrant, and it was easy to get addicted to it. As an alchemist, the medicinal wine that Yang Wu mixed for himself was naturally extraordinary. He gave it to the little old man because he felt that the little old man was someone who loved wine. It didn't matter if the little old man was sincere in helping him or if he was drunk. In any case, he liked the little old man. Yang Wu wasn't a stingy person to begin with. It didn't matter if he gave this jug of 8 drunken immortals to a fated person. The little old man took the wine jug and unceremoniously opened the lid. He took a whiff, and the intoxicating aroma instantly made him narrow his eyes and say, "Tsk, tsk, fragrant, really fragrant. Good wine, good wine." Saying this, he raised his head and drank in large mouthfuls. It looked like he wanted to drink the entire jug of wine in one go. Yang Wu wanted to open his mouth to stop him, but it was too late. He had reminded the little old man not to drink too much, especially if ordinary people drank it. They would explode from the medicinal strength. However, nothing happened to the little old man. His cloudy eyes became much brighter, and he couldn't help but praise, "It's really a fine wine. It's a pity that it's still young. If it could be stored for a few more years, it would definitely become a peerless wine. Little guy, what good name does this wine have?" 8 drunken immortals. Yang Wu was certain that the little old man in front of him was definitely not an ordinary person. Otherwise, how could he still be so sober after drinking his wine? 8 drunken immortals, 8 drunken immortals. To be an immortal in a drunken dream. Good name, good name. The little old man muttered. His body swayed a few times, as if he was about to fall to the ground. Yang Wu was so scared that he hurriedly supported him. He shook off Yang Wu's hand and said, "Little guy, you don't need to support me. I'm known to not get drunk even after 1,000 cup." However, just as he finished speaking, he directly fell to the ground drunk. Yang Wu was completely speechless. He had thought that the other party was an amazing expert, but now it seemed that he was just like that. Yang Wu was about to carry the little old man and leave this place, but who knew that the guard would quickly run over and carry the little old man. He said to Yang Wu, "Little brother, since this old man allowed you to come in for the examination, then come in. I'll report this matter to the higher-ups." Yang Wu was stunned for a moment and said, "That works too? Come in. The old man is right. Our apothecary alliance does have this kind of rule, but we don't usually tell people. Please forgive us, little brother," the guard said as he carefully carried the little old man and brought Yang Wu inside. Yang Wu was at a loss, but he didn't think too much about it. In any case, it was enough as long as he could enter for the examination. The guard had Yang Wu wait at the entrance while he first went to settle the little old man down. Then, he hurriedly returned and brought a middle-aged man wearing an apothecary's robe over. He introduced, "This is our Lord Xia Yunan. He will take you to the examination." Xia Yun had a square face, spirited eyes, and a robust body. He had the aura of a superior being. He wasn't simply an ordinary apothecary. After Yang Wu slightly bowed to Xia Yun raised his eyebrows and said, "You want to take the apothecary examination?" Yang Wu lightly nodded and replied, "Yes, Lord Xia." Yang Wu could sense that this Xia Yun was at least in the dragon transformation realm. He also wore a unique emblem that looked quite noble. It was at least the emblem of a heavenly apothecary or even a little saint apothecary. Yang Wu couldn't help but suspect the little old man's identity. He definitely had an extraordinary relationship with the Apothecary Alliance. Xia Yun and didn't ask any more questions. He brought Yang Wu to a room not far away and had someone register Yang Wu's information. Yang Wu looked at the information that needed to be filled in and wrote it down without any hesitation. The Apothecary Alliance wouldn't accept a person of unknown origin into the alliance. They had to be pure in order to be accepted. No matter if it was a righteous or evil force, everyone had to have an origin. They had to write it down and register it so that they could find their roots in the future. It was precisely because of this that they set the rule that those who wanted to take the alchemist examination had to be recommended by more than 2 members. Some rogue cultivators and wild cultivators were only selectively accepted, not every one of them, so as to avoid ruining their reputation. Yang Wu filled in the Yang Wu of the Yang clan. He didn't write in the Heavenly Palace. The Heavenly Palace hadn't appeared yet. He had to wait until he obtained the title of Dragon Emperor on the Heavenly Dragon ranking before he could call himself a member of the Heavenly Palace. The Battle Clan Realm's Yang clan also has an alchemist. That's quite surprising. Perhaps he's just an ordinary medicine king, Xia Yun and thought to himself. Then he thought, being able to meet Elder Zhe is really a stroke of luck. After Yang Wu finished filling in his information, Xia Yun brought Yang Wu to an examination room. He said to Yang Wu, identifying herbs, controlling fire, and condensing pills. Only after completing these 3 tasks will you have the qualifications to participate in the examination. There are 49 herbs over there. Go and identify their names and effect. Yang Wu walked over to the herb rack and began to point at each herb, listing out their names and effects in an orderly manner. Identifying herbs was the foundation of an alchemist. As a saint alchemist, Yang Wu was just a child's play to him. Xia Yun saw Yang Wu quickly identify the 49 herbs as if they were precious pearls. After that, he confirmed that Yang Wu had put some effort into identifying herbs. These 49 herbs didn't seem like a lot, but each one of them was extremely difficult to identify. They might be similar herbs or uncommon herbs. Alchemists who didn't have a deep understanding of herbs might make a mistake. However, the youth in front of him didn't make a mistake. He really did have some foundation. The second test is controlling fire. 108 iron birds will fly out here. Each iron bird's flight path is different, and their sizes are different as well. You have to use your true fire to hit the marked spots on them. You have to hit at least 100 of them. Start now. Xia Yun said. He took a step forward as if he was stepping on a mechanism. Suddenly, 108 iron birds appeared out of thin air. These iron birds weren't living birds, but puppets controlled by an array. Their flying speed wasn't much different from real birds. Some were as big as a human head, and some were as small as a fist. Each iron bird was marked at a different location. Hitting the marks with fire wasn't an easy task. After all, these iron birds were constantly flying in a crisscrossing pattern. It wasn't just a test of one's ability to control fire, but also one's eyesight. Yang Wu looked at these iron birds. With a flick of his finger, bits of fire flew out from his finger, shooting at those flying iron birds. Bang! Bang! No matter how these iron birds flew, they weren't fast in his eyes. He used his fire to shoot down their marks. It couldn't be any simpler. In a few dozen breaths, these iron birds were all shot down.